We are so back.
Iceman Isaac with a huge play.
This is the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl 6, presented by USAA.
Anything's possible.
Tune in directly following Call of Duty Next on September 30th. 10 military branches, 3 nations, going head-to-head.
The U.S. Air Force falls out of nowhere
in Call of Duty Warzone for the C.O.D.E Bowl trophy. Tons of epic viewership rewards. And beta codes for Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
Y'all were cooking.
Don't miss which branch takes Verdansk with your favorite Call of Duty creators. Who will be crowned the Monster Energy MVP and the Corsair Solo YOLO champion. We're celebrating more than 150,000 veterans placed in high-quality jobs thanks to your support. Don't miss the competition, the rewards, the mission. Tune in to the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl 6, presented by USAA on September 30th.
Hello and welcome to Call of Duty Endowment Bowl 6, presented by USAA. USAA is proud to continue their long-standing support for C.O.D.E Bowl as presenting sponsor for the 5th event in a row, bringing some of the world's best Call of Duty streamers together to battle it out with servicemen and women across the UK, United States, and Canadian Armed Forces. Thank you, USA, for making C.O.D.E Bowl 6 possible. In order to deliver the most high-quality experience for viewers, this broadcast has been pre-recorded, but all gameplay was captured in real time and is full of high-action moments. Speaking of which, it's time to get it started. Let's get right into our team introductions. Please stand and remove your hats for the United States National Anthem and remain standing for God Save the King and O Canada. Best of luck to all service members and competitors throughout today's competition. It's time to get it started. And welcoming back to the desk is Lottie. How you feeling?
Thank you so much, Reflections. I am beyond excited to be here for Code Bowl 6. And joining me here, I have two very talented, very good-looking, incredible casters, Spider, Tiff, and Goj. Welcome to Code Bowl 6. How are you feeling, Tiff?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. I'm beyond amped. And one of the best parts about this, Goj, is we are looking through all of the players throughout the anthems. They are in a passion pit, and this is the best way I would want it.
Yeah, I'm so pumped to see actually what happens, because last year, I'm going to be honest, we had a bit of a stomp. U.S. Army crushed. I think it's anybody's game this time around.
It certainly could be, and there's a lot of questions, but hopefully we'll find a lot of the answers. Now, as a reminder for why we are here, since 2009, the endowment has successfully placed over 150,000 veterans into high-quality jobs, with each placement costing just $628. These efforts have generated a cumulative economic impact of $9.3 billion for veterans and their families.
Yeah, these jobs are high quality with salaries well above the national average, and more than 90% are full-time. Incredible at a time where veteran unemployment is over 18%.
And we put on the Code Bowl to bring together the military community, gamers, and fans in support of the endowment's mission. It is not just a competition, it's a celebration of service and a powerful way to raise awareness and funds to help veterans succeed in their next chapter.
And, you know, we are hooking you guys up with awesome rewards for tuning in all show long. For those of you joining us from YouTube and Twitch, we have some great viewer rewards for you, thanks to USAA. Available today only and earned by watching our Code Bowl 6 broadcast on YouTube or Twitch are 4 in-game items you can equip within Black Ops 6 and Warzone that show your support of the endowment. Whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, don't forget to make sure your account is linked.
And hey, don't forget, the endowment is dropping Call of Duty Black Ops 7 beta codes throughout Code Bowl 6. Keep your eyes on the broadcast during each drop. You don't want to miss your shot to jump back into the action, Black Ops 7, and embrace the madness early.
Anytime you say madness, Goj, I'm here for a good time. Let me just tell you, we're ready to embrace it, but it's great to be back with you all for another year of Code Bowl. I have to say, though, we are all looking incredibly fresh in our Through Dark bomber jackets. Show it off, Lottie, okay? You remember last year, Through Dark joined the show to talk about how they helped inspire the Call of Duty Endowment's Endeavor Tracer Pack, one of my favorite bundles of Black Ops 6. Gotta check out their high-performance outerwear designed by UK Special Forces.
But enough of the pleasantries and fly jackets. Let's take a look at our format for the day. The teams will compete in 4 drops of Mini Royale on Verdansk. Each team receives 1 point for every elimination, and depending on where they finish, there's also a placement multiplier. So it's really crucial to make it to that final circle. Since each military branch has 2 trios, each of their scores are added together. So let's take a look at the teams, because it's very important on where you're at, 2 teams coming together, and also 2 creators on each side as well. Now, as we look down these, our wonderful casters who analyze everything, I'm sure you've been analyzing the teams. And Tiff, what are you thinking right now? Because we have creators who have been there before. Some have stayed on with some of the, the teams that they've been on before in many years as well. But how are you feeling about them overall?
Honestly, I'm really excited. When you think about Snixie and Z-Laner returning back for their teams, they were in the top 3. They're feeling incredibly confident. But when you make it into the top 3, okay, we're not happy with a 3rd place. We want to win. So running it back and having the opportunity to jump and remove that from the U.S. Army, look, they got a target on their back, Goj.
Yeah, Royal Canadian Air Force is definitely going to be a team to watch out for because of those 2 creators, but also the players on the team. Of course, U.S. Army. Aiden is back on that squad. So got Aiden, but it wasn't just Aiden last year. We've got some returners for that team and some new faces on the military service member side. I think Army's still going to be a competitor, if not a top team. My eyes, though, Lottie, are on the Coast Guard. Joe Woe, Breadman joining the mix and playing in the same overall roster for that military service branch. I think it's going to be massive for that squad.
Really, really exciting stuff all around. And I can't wait to see exactly how our teams do, especially with the creators and what they bring to the table, alongside the fact that they have another team to think about and how they're pulling their weight as well, coming into, of course, that overall point system that we have too. But we have a lot of other reoccurring partners maybe
That's
coming
right.
forward, Goj.
Look, I'm so excited to announce that with Monster Energy returning as a partner for Code Bowl 6, the Monster Energy most valuable player, that MVP, is back, folks. Code Bowl 5 saw standout performances throughout the event, but none bigger than Taj. Thanks to Monster Energy, Taj from the U.S. Army took home the Monster Energy MVP award in Code Bowl 5.
And as a reminder, the award is decided by the Code Bowl 6 broadcast team and will be given the honor to stand out the performance of a military team member who exhibited a relentless pursuit of victory and unleashed the beast on the competition. Stay tuned at the end of the broadcast to see who will be crowned the next Monster Energy MVP. And of course, we do have quite the gorgeous, glistening Monster Energy ring to go alongside it. Now, I'm actually glad that they're giving this thing obviously at the end of the tournament, because if we did have Taj in the building, if he was wearing that with a controller in his hand, it'd be clunky. I don't know what it would do to the gameplay, other than, of course, giving a bunch of confidence. But to celebrate all things MVP, the Call of Duty Endowment and Monster partnered to develop a custom calling card that will be automatically granted when you log into the Call of Duty. It's called Unleash the MVP, so go check it out and equip it now. Thank you so very much, Monster Energy.
Okay, everyone, the branch with the most points after 4 drops is crowned the Code Bowl 6 champion. We got to take a look at this incredible piece of hardware. They get to take this home, the Code Bowl 6 trophy. Tiff, talk to me about this thing. I mean, good grief.
The best part about this is, as you saw the highlights at the top of the show, everyone hoisting it up. It's a moment of all that hard work has definitely paid off, and celebrating with your teammates, it's just something that's very unforgettable. So I love that we have that here. But stay tuned for the reveal of the Endowment's Black Ops 7 launch pack with a special interview and first look. It's going to be epic, and you won't want to miss it.
And right after the epic Code Bowl 6 showdown, get ready for the ultimate test of skill in the Solo YOLO, presented by Corsair. It's back, folks. It's one drop, every person for themselves. No teams, no second chances. Will Teep defend his crown from last year? Maybe. Stay tuned to find out who will be taking home the golden headset. Holy cow, this thing is insane.
Gorgeous. I got to say, golden ears, that's what I want. I don't know, I might have to jump in there into that room and overtake a setup, because those are gorgeous. I love a bit of gold, me. So to have that in a headset is amazing. Tons of things that these guys can get their hands on. We've got the Monster Energy ring. We have the overall endowment, trophy that is glistening and gleaming. And I will say, if you do find any tiny little fingerprints on it, I know it was Tiff.
No comment. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I wasn't in there just practicing what it would look like hoisting it. Of course, we were just prepping it for maybe Space Force.
Yeah. Oh, you're going to do predictions.
Really
maybe.
I want to talk about some more of those teams while we get ready for this first drop, because I think it's super important to remind people at home that we've been doing this for a while. I mean, we call it Code Bowl 6 for a reason. Like, it's been a while to get to this point, and we've got a lot of history with some of these squads. So if we can, I'd love to pull back up that teams graphic and talk a little bit about them, because of course I've got my eyes on Coast Guard. Tiff, you brought up Space Force. I mean, I think Space Force is a team that absolutely could put up great numbers. The big question in my mind is our military service members. Every year there are standout performances. Last year, of course, with U.S. Army, it was Taj putting up historic numbers in almost any competition I've ever casted over, and we've casted over a ton. So I think they will be the big difference maker. You can see some of those players obviously on your screen right now. I'll be looking out to see who top frags for their team, because you got to remember it is 2 full trios combined. That's the way the score is tallied. It's very different from other competitions.
Yeah, it makes it certainly very difficult having to keep track of your other team. Ultimately, those come together, so you have to be doing things on the same page, but obviously on different squads. Now, you guys told me a little bit in the green room about maybe the Navy, and a little bit of lore behind that as well, because, we do get the chance to talk to some of the players and some of the creators. So, what is going on with the Navy right now? Why should maybe some of the Navy guys be very excited about their options and choices here?
So, okay, we talk about U.S. Army being the champion. Obviously, that is the case. Aiden is back with them. But his counterpart on the creator side was Legion. Legion is now with Navy, Goats, and Glory. And on the opposite side in the creator category, in the same overall Navy roster, is Teep, the Solo YOLO champion, and obviously a world champion. I mean, this guy has the most history you could put into a Call of Duty background. Go look him up on Wikipedia or wherever you want to look him up. Crazy. So obviously, star-studded rosters there. But they were actually, I was talking to Legion in the airport. They have been repping together, like practicing before they flew over here. And Legion said his 2 teammates are cracked out of their mind. And they're top 250 on the ranked leaderboard. absolutely watch out for Navy Ghost and Glory.
I've heard similar things, and I'll tell you something. When I was doing my homework heading into this, I did notice that Goats and Glories have actually been carrying some of our favorite creators, some of our favorite Call of Duty faces in Warzone as well. I mean, a couple of days ago, they were playing with Skunk, trying to help him get his challenges done in Warzone. So that was interesting. They also did the same thing with Nade Shot. So they have reps, not only just playing and being cracked out of their minds, like we have all heard, and I have personally seen, but also helping creators. So I think this mesh is going to be very, very interesting, Tiff.
There's a lot to be said about that. If you're helping multiple people, it just goes to show you that you have the leadership quality to be able to adapt and be flexible. And since we are playing Mini Royale here, it's going to take a lot of that leg work out. That first entire circle is already going to be encroached by the gas, so you don't really have a lot of time to kind of loot up and go. No, this is going to be high octane, a ton of fast pace. Those rotations are going to have to be exponentially quick, and you're going to have to work together, not only with yourself, but what happens if you've got your neighboring squad? Both U.S. Army teams are right there in the final circle. Hey, you made it to the end, right? That's great multiplier, but you want to make sure that if the U.S. Navy or something is in there, that you target them. And how are you going to manage that?
Yeah, that's true. I think it'll be pretty tough. I think traditionally speaking, we don't see teams try to work together. It's just if you knock one of your team members, you might back off and get out of there. I don't know. But I do believe it looks like we're dropping into our very first round.
É, pessoal, e o C.O.D. não para não, hein? C.O.D.zinho hoje tá que tá frenético. Esse evento que tá rolando agora é um tal de C.O.D. Bom 6, que é um evento que ele é anual de Call of Duty e é um torneio de esportes, né, de caridade. Que ele tem um propósito de arrecadar fundos para aumentar a consciencialização para Call of Duty, que é uma fundação que ajuda a colocar veteranos em emprego de alta qualidade. Ou seja, é em prol de uma causa muito boa, né, para ajudar as pessoas aí que têm idade mais avançada. E nesse evento que está rolando agora, a gente viu, né, alguns militares americanos, Reino Unido, Canadá, que são de várias áreas, né, como Força Aérea, Marinha, Exército e por aí vai. E agora tá rolando o quê? É um torneio, né, que é o torneio que eu comentei com vocês, que é um torneio de caridade para arrecadar uma grana para estar ajudando essa fundação. E esse torneio tá rolando com a participação de vários criadores de conteúdo aí pelo mundo, né, que são bem conhecidos. Então esse evento que tá rolando aí é o C.O.D. Bom 6, que é um evento anual.
It is the first circle is fully closed when the plane line spawns in, so it is a very small portion of this map. And because of that, there's a lot of action early, but it does not mean there is a resurgence timer. This is normal Warzone.
The tough part about it is the regains when it happens like this. You saw FIFA there lose out on some of his teammates, and the buy stations are not going to be readily available. So if you burn your gulag early on, you're going to have to make sure that you get that cash up. But we saw 6 teams in the neighboring vicinity, at least with Iceman Isaac here out in farmland. Sure, a rotation will be difficult, and you do have an isolated fight just across the way, but this is a much safer place to be for now. But rotating into prison will be difficult.
It certainly will be difficult, but you're right, chance to breathe for some of these players. Of course, shout out to Iceman Isaac and his whole squad on Air Force. Iceman Isaac, part of the Air Force himself, actually served, and now is helping lead this squad going forward. And of course, folks, I'll draw your eyes to the left-hand side of your screen.
Esse modo aqui é o Battle Royale, hein?
Get ready.
Tá maneiro, cara.
Decoding as we go, so you can kind of guess early if you'd like. See if you can be first to pull the trigger and get this code locked down.
É, ó, tá maneiro mesmo, cara. Tamo aqui ao vivo acompanhando em tempo real essa disputa aí, ó, eletrizante.
Once this code is fully broken down, or maybe you can guess it before anybody else.
Reparem o nível da coordenação das equipes aí. Tá bem organizadinho, hein? É impressionante de ver. Dá pra ver que os caras não estão jogando só pela diversão ou pelo troféu também, né? Que vai rolar um troféu aqui nesse evento. Mas também estão jogando com disciplina. Ó, tô jogando em equipe. Tá bem organizadinho, ó. Ó, e é importante lembrar também o porquê que estão todos reunidos, né? Que essa competição épica aí do Call of Duty vai colocar esses veteranos de guerra aí no... empregados mais uma vez, que é muito importante.
Overall, looking pretty solid on the side of Benny Central and Co, but not a crazy amount of kills to boot. This is kind of a
Nossa, esse Battle Royale tá pegando fogo, hein? A qualquer momento aí a gente pode estar vendo algum lance que vai definir quem leva o título pra casa, hein?
But at least we do have the heartbeat sensor to kind of maneuver around, but honestly those bullets are going to tell you more than you need to know.
Swing around the right side here. Try to figure out where to go from here. Obviously, you can see.
Eu acho que esse modo Battle Royale vai vingar, hein? Tá bem maneiro, cara.
Seems like Zyro and FIFA still over there, definitely focusing on each other. FIFA drops down but Santa on the inside here. You can see Mags holding the staircase just on the inner working side of things. That's going to be Lovely Low, the creator, holding down the fort. As well, not a ton of cash, but once you kind of get inside prison on the lower depth areas, it's difficult because there's so many different nooks and crannies that you have to focus on and make sure that you're keeping tabs on. And with the circle kind of pulling, it just popped. We can't stay here. We're going to have to move.
I totally agree, but on the low side, this is a zone we actually see, Tiff, quite often in Big Map 2. It's the zone on the outside of prison. Everybody will have to rotate out eventually. Here's a look at it.
Olha o círculo aí, ó. O gás tá apertando, hein? O gás tá apertando.
Team 19, they have set up mid-zone, ready to rock and roll, playing the late game. And here's a look at them. Insane. This is Breadman. We were talking about him. Coast Guard, they're playing for the win. And it looks like they've got the tag of the bakery.
Agora aqui nesse momento a comunicação deles tem que ser perfeita.
Likes a little bit of its toast, but Hale pick up the res there. Now, this is what I'm worried about. So even if you can get onto these outer workings of prison, you're going to have to
É a pura inteligência tática.
screen representing Space Force, one of the teams here. You're going to have to rotate early. If not, Breadman's going to pick up every single one of these teams as they look to rotate out of prison.
I totally agree.
Carregou munição.
Slowly but surely here. This is just a play to play slow first and then
O mapa é bem grande, hein?
Playing on the high ground, obviously smokes will help.
Olha só o local, cara, maneiro.
I saw swag flying off, looking to make a rotate, but at least they have the loadouts.
Jogou uma smoke para disfarçar a presença.
And quite frankly, it's just open season.
Pra ficar bem camuflado, né? Quem botar a carinha na janela vai tomar headshot. Quem botar a carinha na janela vai tomar headshot.
Those kills going to be extremely valuable when you start thinking about our multipliers. See Tripod Kurt on your screen here with Iceman Isaac.
He's on 4 for Tantalize.
Air Force looking really strong, and there's a solo ratting out and actually getting paid for it. Gel-Dog taking down Tantalize.
Eu ainda não tenho a confirmação 100%, mas eu creio que esse modo que eles estão jogando, que é o Battle Royale, ele vai ser totalmente free to play, viu? Independente de ter comprado uma cópia do jogo base. Então a tendência é esse modo bombar, hein?
And Gel-Dog gets cut down. They know that they've got at least a slight advantage going into Tones. Here's a look at him. Isaac C.O.D.E, Tones, and Sean J Gaming on your screen right now.
Yeah, Sean J Gaming, she played last year in Code Bowl as well. I believe she did finish at the bottom of the leaderboard. So this is the perfect way to start fresh and say, okay, we're going to come back swinging, especially when the entire team is returning. So into the top 14, mind you, you need top 10 to get 1.5x. And I'd imagine once this gas finishes and that next circle pops, we will lose half our lobby.
Well, what's interesting about this is Sean J Gaming is a part of the Air Force team. So Sean J, Tones, Isaac C.O.D.E, they are Air Force as well as Iceman Isaac. I have a feeling these two teams, they actually interacted earlier, figured out who each other were, and are not shooting each other. They came in and played together. Hey, it's Code Bowl, man. Anything goes. I love it.
É, o mapa tá fervendo, hein? Temos pouca gente restando no mapa. E o círculo não perdoa, tá ligado?
Pressure away from you. Scrub though on 2, which is nice, but I like how FIFA Kill maintaining the helicopter has actually chosen to go on the other side of prison, just underneath that bridge.
Os caras estão bem disciplinados no esquema tático, né? Tá bem organizadinho. Dá pra ver que o pessoal consegue transformar a desvantagem do terreno em meio que uma armadilha, né? Tática.
They've got to know Legion's here, right? Shots fired, one goes down. It's going to be a 2v3, turn to a 2v2, and then a trade. Jay Smooth, the high ground always wins. We've learned that time and time again.
Yeah, so the best part about that is
Pô, tá muito legal esse Battle Royale em equipes, cara.
Axis immediately dives down and says, "Okay, you guys done enough damage. You ripped a couple plates off."
Tô jogando em equipe assim, dá pra tu virar o jogo em segundos, cara, sabendo exatamente onde que os inimigos vão sair, né, por causa do gás. Informação é poder. Nesse ponto da partida, é basicamente a diferença, né? Entre quem vai vencer e quem vai sair perdedor.
High ground continuing to prove useful. There's a look at him, Joe with Nazir and Grand Poobah. Man, I've casted over Grand Poobah, I think 15 times.
Ó, o vagabundo lá em cima do castelo, não desce não, ó.
We'll see if that's the case today. Lovely Low leading their team down below. Underneath, playing nice and slow. Everybody's gonna have to come out of prison though. And the question is when. Are you too late? High ground so valuable. Here's the first gunfight though. Santa.
Ó, a pressão tá aumentando, a pressão tá aumentando.
Trades damage between all three players, and because he gets punished, but there's a...
Será que eles conseguem eliminar esse time aí antes que o círculo feche?
Steals one away.
You've got to keep your tabs on them. They are so impressive and obviously want to run.
Agora é uma corrida contra o tempo, né, pra ver quem define os melhores squads aí. Eles têm que encontrar. Tem que encontrar onde os caras tá ali em cima. O lugar exato. Eu não creio que eles vão sair ali até o gás começar a reduzir.
It will multiply the kills that you get on the map. So placement is extremely important, but it is not everything. Dawes, Breadman, Spinaman, their perception of the map.
Cara, eu quero só ver como é que vai ser isso aqui. A zona final é minúscula, tá ligado? Os caras vão se matar aqui rapidinho, cara.
Dawes gonna have to go big from the high ground. I don't think they necessarily know he's got this angle. Can't spot.
O pessoal tá fora daquele castelo, se posicionando já imaginando, né, que quando o círculo começar a fechar, os caras vão ter que correr. Aí eles vão estar em desvantagem.
Does not get completely fooled. So we do have this brief moment where we can try to go ahead and get that reset.
Estratégia é tudo.
If they get that 2x multiplier goes, it is going to be a massive way to kick off match number 1.
Quem será que vai se consagrar o campeão desse ano da C.O.D.E 6, mano? Garantiu o título aí pra levar pra casa.
Libram trying to play spoiler and unfortunately gets sent back to the lobby. 4 teams remaining.
Tá bonito, tá organizadinho, hein? Só esperando os vagabundos sair lá do local. E o gás que não fecha? Cadê o gás que não fecha? Quero ver o gás fechando.
These are 2 Air Force teams in the top 5. This is gigantic for Air Force. They're going to start off with a huge bang.
This is going to be challenging.
Cadê ninguém na espreita. Os caras só na tocaia, na camperagem mesmo, não tem essa não, cara. Vai fechar o círculo, vagabundo fica só esperando botar a cara. Vim correndo é na orelha. Olha lá, tá vindo, olha lá. Olha lá, vagabundinho correndo ali rapidinho, olha lá. Toma-lhe granada na cara, toma-lhe. Ah, derrubou 2, mano. Victory. Tá vendo? Camperar é tudo, cara. Camperar é uma tática, cara. É a tática de ouro pra sair campeão, ó. O cara ficou de boa ali esperando ali os caras virem atrás do morrinho, ó. Chegou, ainda vou uma granada na cara. Victory.
And here's the best part, Ghosh, is why I was talking about the setup that we're in. It is so unique and cool that everyone is just packed in there side by side. So it's like, hey, did you see what I just did to you there at the end game? I just absolutely slaughtered you, and I can turn around and I can hit the banter just behind it. You back it up.
It's really, really cool in there, Lottie. Obviously, action-packed Mini Royale will wake you up a little bit. Well, I'm going to echo everything you said, Lottie, because what you were saying is perfect. It is very fast-paced. It is very aggressive, and the pace of play is surprising for a lot of people at home. A lot of these players have played a ton of Warzone. Mini Royale is a totally different beast.
Yeah, especially if we're going to start things off going immediately towards prison. I was not anticipating the fact that we were going to immediately see someone in the helicopter just dropping it down, chopping them up.
I'm back. I'm actually back. Hi, guys.
Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, unbelievably fast. I blinked and it was basically over, which I couldn't believe. I love the aggression. I think it's really interesting also seeing what a couple of players are doing when they're solo on their own and the decisions that they're making. Right now, yeah, it was the first drop. I know that they've got a few things to learn, but it's tough out there. It's just not the same as playing on a big map, so they're going to have to really think on their toes. I think the other thing for me is the fact that Air Force was just so elite. And we didn't talk about working together because that's not really the aim of the game, but who would have thought both of them, first and second place, coming out on top. Also the kills to boot as well. A really impressive start from them.
Yeah, we start looking back on our replays, and it already started hot in the pregame lobby, all right? I'm not going to make that same mistake. I did think it was the pregame lobby once we hopped into the game and saw that helicopter action, and somehow Benny Central is putting some highlight-level plays at the very beginning of this map, hopping onto a vehicle, trying to shoot people out of the driver's seat. This was a big moment, obviously. We kind of gave a nod to Legion and his team going into this competition. They were talking a little bit of trash in the airport with me. Unfortunately, couldn't get things going. But looking at this moment, obviously, a big fight in prison. And as we rotated out of prison, it was utter chaos, but it was a fight over this position on the other side of the rocks.
It's really tough, right? Because you had Bredman's team that rotated here early. They took a lot of risk making sure that they positioned themselves there. And it's unfortunate that when you let the kills come to you, that's great. But if you don't win that first fight, we saw Iceman Isaac immediately grab that power position.
Very interesting stuff. And talking about power position, something that I also have noticed, and I'm sure will also, I think, get a little bit better as we progress through some of the drops, is how you position yourself when other teams are fighting, right? And it's coming into a situation where you are pushing like prison, like we saw there. You are weak, potentially. You might have won that fight. However, there could be a team waiting, lurching in the wings to come and push, you know, where you are completely out of resources, where you are weak and your health is really suffering. That's also something that I think a lot of teams need to start to push forward, especially if you're on the outer ring of the leaderboard too.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because I was going to talk about third parties, but in Mini Royale, it's more of like fifth, sixth, seventh parties, because it's just non-stop action. And so 100%, you got to keep that in mind. Resource management is going to be everything. And it sounds like the race for the helicopter, if our zones around the helicopter, could be a huge value add for your team. I think I saw whoever got the helicopter first. It might have been FIFA. I think he got like 5 kills. I mean, people are still flying into the map, and he was dicing people up like sushi.
Well, he's been landing at prison for what, the last year and a half? So, I mean, he's very comfortable.
Very comfortable indeed. Of course, we have the leaderboard here for you guys after that first drop here. And Air Force Gaming, of course, they're going to be right at the top because both their teams actually finished first and second. So really, really good stuff from them as well. Any kind of surprises here early on this leaderboard? Because we talked about a few of the names here that we thought would be, you know, pretty aggressive, pretty good from the start and the get-go. Tiff, what are you noticing?
I mean, besides from Air Force Gaming there with a 12 and a 19.5, that's where the boons of the multiplier, right? That's a nice 2x and a 1.5. So just being consistent towards those end games since we only have 4 drops. It's kind of unfortunate there when I look at US Army Esports, our returning champs, maybe not the best start for them, but that's okay so long as they turn it around.
Yeah, and you got to look at Coast Guard too, right? We saw Coast Guard, that's Breadman, Jowo leading their teams. We saw them playing for positioning, playing for late game, and then we saw them get wiped, and it was kind of like, oh, they didn't put up a lot of points. Well, look at our leaderboard. This is a totally different tournament with a totally different score line. So when you see a team be in third place at 13.5 points, this is the metric for success you're looking for. Obviously, we're looking for a champion, but everybody else is very close to 13.5, but that's kind of your metric of, I had a good game.
It's also really interesting to see as well when you're looking at the leaderboard, like you said, the kind of different scores that are coming across from the different teams. You're seeing right now 4th, RCAF game, you know, like the fact that one of them had a 3, one of them had a 9, but that together score is pushing up that leaderboard, which is keeping them consistent and competitive as well. But folks, Coach, I believe we actually have a couple of people we want to chat to.
Yeah, hey, our drop one winners are Air Force Game. There's no question about it. And they are standing by with reflections for our squad goals interview presented by USAA.
Welcome in to our USA Squad Goals interview. Tones from Air Force taking game number 1 in a big fashion. Air Force, You need a win, okay? There's been a different winner each and every year. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, how's your experience been so far?
It's been awesome. Super thankful to the Air Force, Activision, everybody. This has been an amazing experience, sweet venue, no complaints.
So you were in a different Code Bowl, a couple back. You now return to this stage. How special is it for you to represent your branch at Code Bowl?
Oh, I love it. I'm super thankful. I've been in the Air Force a long time, almost 16 years, so this stuff wasn't really around. So to see this stuff come in full circle now is awesome to see.
Yeah, 16 years is actually quite impressive. And speaking of impressive, farmland. You got to go from farmland over towards prison. Walk me through your team strats as you had to start and ultimately finish with the W.
Yeah, we landed far out on the zone, just looted up, tried to third-party some fights, and we were just trying to play our life, get position, and then once we seen it rotated off of prison, we kind of worked up the hill trying to get some freebies, but Kilo needs a little more damage.
Talk to me about, though, your team. Obviously, you know, you're playing with other service members yourself. You obviously, Sean J., you got Iceman Isaac, a veteran in his own right. Talk to me about your team, its formation, because from what I'm hearing, the Air Force, it's not easy to get on this roster.
No, and it's funny. We probably got the oldest roster here. I'm 34, he's 19, and then we got 31 and 34. So we got an old roster here, so we're showing out for the old men.
Showing out for the old men such as myself. I'm 33. I can relate. Thank you, Tones. You got to get ready for your next game. We've got 3 more to go. Right now, it seems Air Force might be on top. Let's send it to the desk to find out.
Well, that was our squad goals interview presented by USAA. Along with award-winning service, USAA is known for squadding up with the military service members and their families. These guys were really showing out, and squad in drop number 1, Air Force was unstoppable. Apparently, they're the oldest team here. I don't know.
I can't. When they said they were the oldest team here and they said 34, I was like, come on, man. Like, I'm shocked, guys.
Exposed.
Unk status, I guess,
Okay.
whatever it is. But all right, folks, we know situations can get a little sweaty, and thanks to our partners at Gillette Antiperspirant, we're going to go over a few hot drops throughout Verdansk and give some tips on how to stay cool under pressure. Our first hot drop of the day, we didn't see it in that map though. Damn. And now I'm sure we'll eventually see it, but it is a favorite for a lot of that high reward gameplay and getting looted up, but those sight lines are so difficult, Ghosh.
Yeah, the thing about Mini Royale is that you oftentimes play a little bit of 4 corners. Every map goes out towards the edge of the map usually. Dam is absolutely something we should see today. And I think the big thing to remember about Dam is the high ground. We already saw how valuable it was over at Prison. It's going to be even more important here at Dam. And there is a heli drop here as well, so could see a pretty similar map to the one we just saw, Tiff.
Well, even in the sweatiest drops like Dam, Gillette Antiperspirant keeps you feeling confident, dry, and fresh. So you can focus on the mission, not the sweat.
Very, very true. I will say it's going to get very sweaty. And I think Gillette is going to be the only ones to power us through this because from what I saw from that drop number 1, it's going to be so incredibly aggressive. I can't wait for it because I live for the kills. Personally, I love it. I love that risk. I know it's obviously a high reward as well, but if you get that circle, that's just really closing in on you guys and the best position to be in. Very difficult to read, though, in a mini Royale, though. Very difficult to read.
Yeah, I think the thing about Mini Royale is that positioning is going to be key. We obviously saw that. Kills will come to you to some degree, but if you can drop one banger map, you could set yourself up and your entire roster up for massive success in this tournament. Air Force did just that in the first drop. They're feeling very good. We're only playing 4. A quarter of the way done, and they already have 30-plus points. What are we talking about?
They're feeling ever so good, and so am I, because we have plenty more drops coming your way. We'll be right back, folks, with more C.O.D.E. Bowl 6.
USAA serves the military community and their families with the unrivaled support you've earned. Monster Energy. Grab a co-branded can of Monster Energy. Find the code under the tab and upload to callofduty.monsterenergy.com to earn bonus in-game rewards in Black Ops 7. Experience the world of Call of Duty with Corsair, the official gaming hardware and peripheral partner of Call of Duty and Call of Duty Endowment. Visit Corsair.com for more information. Gillette Antiperspirants proudly supports veterans through the Call of Duty Endowment. Enjoy 72 hours sweat and odor protection. Starting November 8th, Pilot will be partnering with the Endowment for the 7th year in a row. You can round up your change in store at checkout with 100% of net proceeds going to the Call of Duty Endowment. Through the partnership to date, Pilot and Endowment have helped over 8,000 vets gain meaningful employment. If you head into any Pilot or Flying J location, you can join in on the fight to help get our veterans back to work.
Welcome back to Code Bowl 6, presented by USAA. We're just moments away from our second drop. But folks, don't forget, USAA is unlocking rewards for all the viewers on this broadcast. Via Twitch drops, you can earn an animated emblem, spray, weapon charm, and weapon blueprint for every hour that you tune in. So keep watching to maximize your rewards, and USAA proudly supports the military gaming community. We've already seen some Black Ops 7 beta codes pop up on stream, so stay locked in. If you're quick enough, you can secure that Black Ops 7 beta access and be one of the first to get hands-on. Speaking of Black Ops 7 though, you know, one of my favorite parts of every launch is the code pack that drops with the release. Always inspired by a real-life veteran, and this year is no different. We have an awesome veteran partner here to tell her story and how she inspired the Call of Duty Endowment Pack Legacy Tracer Pack. Let's bring out our very own Stephanie Snowden to get the latest intel.
I'm here now with Danielle Green, a U.S. Army veteran and Purple Heart recipient who partnered with the Call of Duty Endowment to develop the latest pack for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Danielle, welcome. I'm so excited to talk to you and talk about this pack.
Thanks, Stephanie. And hey, everyone. I'm honored to be here today and tell you more about the Call of Duty Endowment Legacy Tracer Pack launching November 14th in Call of Duty Black Ops 7.
So first of all, I just need to say, much like you, this pack is absolutely badass. So what can you tell us about, bringing those elements to the design?
There is a long lineage of female combat veterans that I'm proud to be a part of, and this pack is a legacy to their service and my own.
All right, let's take a first look at the pack here. So Danielle, tell me a little bit about how this collaboration with the Call of Duty Endowment came about.
Absolutely. I'm connected with the Call of Duty Endowment through Open Bionics. They are a world-class leading robotics company. Their mission is to make advanced prosthetic arms accessible to amputees across the U.S., veterans and civilians alike. I'm proud to be wearing one of their designs today.
And that design is awesome. Big shout out to the folks at Open Bionics. Are there any other parts of the Legacy pack design that really resonate with you and your story?
Yes, absolutely. The theme of resiliency is truly ingrained across this pack design.
Absolutely. Danielle, you are an inspiration to us all, women warriors out there. There you have it, the very first look at the Call of Duty Endowment Legacy Tracer Pack. Be sure to get the pack when Call of Duty Black Ops 7 launches to help us place more veterans into great jobs. We cannot do what we do without your support. And thank you, Danielle, for joining us today and continuing to serve.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, let's get back to gameplay.
Well, inspiration is a small word for what Danielle was able to do for us here, obviously with Call of Duty Endowment. Tracer Pack's insane. I mean, so dang cool.
No, do you know what? It's mind-blowing when you really can actually put a real-life person who has lived through something that is so difficult, mentally challenging, physically challenging, and to be able to celebrate something like this in-game is truly special. So incredible stuff, and to actually have her here with us in studio talking about it and seeing the actual inspiration in front of us is incredible. So thank you so much, Danielle, for doing that and being here with us today. Speaking of, though, we have many here with us today. As you can see, the room is filled to the brim with incredible individuals, not only players, but of course serving as well for their fellow countries, and also our creators, which, by the way, is such an incredible opportunity for them as well to actually be gaming with people who are doing, what is the inspiration with Call of Duty in real life. That must be quite something as well in terms of an experience. So these creators, I think they're always jumping at the chance to be able to come to Code Bowl and play with some of these incredible people as well, Tiff.
It truly is a blessing, because when you think about it, getting to represent a branch of the military alongside those servicemen and women, it's something that you don't get to meet when you're playing on games, right? It's all online. You're playing with someone that's across the world, so it really connects a ton of people worldwide. But when you bring it down down together, you get on land, you get right next to your buddies, and then you drop 31.5 points in match number one. I mean, you can't ask for a better day, plus 10 points up on Royal Air Force.
Yeah, this is obviously a really cool stat line to start. It does give me a little bit of a look back at last year. This is about how Army started. So if somebody doesn't stop Air Force Gaming, we might see another team steamroll the competition. And I know we got a lot of people at home watching this competition that don't want that to happen. One thing I know about doing all of these tournaments, C.O.D.E. Bowl, of course, being one of them, is that our military service members and the people watching, they love to trash talk the other military branches.
Banter. It's just banter.
So I am sure there's a lot of people yelling at our Coast Guard team who's within striking distance to make a move on, of course, Air Force.
100%. You know, looking at that leaderboard, it was quite interesting to see the point system happening. And of course, the two teams, just for folks tuning in as well, right now, we do have two teams for each branch that are going together in terms of their points and their finishes and their kills. So it was interesting to see the 10-point gap between first and second place, but then we had a 13, quite a significant jump. What does that mean? I know it's only been the first drop, but like you said, Coach, it's a quarter of the way in already. What does that mean in terms of that deficit that the others are going to have to fight back with?
Yeah, it's funny because, Tiff, we've casted over a lot of competitions, but not a lot like this. When you've got two trios combining scores, it is a totally different ballgame. And I think a really important topic is that Air Force immediately figured out who each other were and did not wipe each other. They shot each other, knocked a player, recognized the name, and backed off.
And I think that's really impressive to be able to acknowledge that in the moment, because you kind of get those jitters out of the way in match number one. And hey, who knows, maybe they're out there just completely iced out and super confident, especially if this is your first rodeo at the C.O.D.E. Bowl, right? You're like, hey, I did this last year, or hey, I'm the returning champ, everything about that. But being able to get granular in the moment and recognize the scenarios. Now, you mentioned solos earlier, yes, Lottie, right? And especially if you're a solo in that end game, having trigger discipline. But what you do have is your teammates that are able to watch and sit there and be like, hey, in the comms, just so you know, there's a team out to your right. In case you didn't see them, go for it, or maybe just watch out for them.
Indeed. Actually, it's funny because, you know, in the situations like this, when you do have somebody who is caught off guard and is solo in those situations, it's like, well, do you just go for a trade? Is that the best you're going to get? Another point on the board, another point in the system? Or do you survive? Do you try to wrangle a win with a team? It's very, very difficult to do so.
It is very difficult, but as we see over the shoulder of a good friend of mine, Zach the OG, it looks like our game has started, folks. Thank you so much for hanging out with us because we've got another game in front of you, folks. We've only playing 4 today. We know how fast these can move. Don't even blink. Maybe take a sip of water. Maybe we'll jump straight into the action. Here's Huskers on screen with Zach the OG. We're just looking over the shoulder. Now we get a chance to look at their perspective, and it looks like we're on the north side of the map this time around. Military base.
I was going to say, we didn't get to quite go to Dam, but that's all right. It's very fitting that we're going to military base because later this week you will see the World Series of Warzone, and Huskers is representing that C.O.D. Unity team and has a ton of experience on this side of the map when it comes to those drop spots. So not necessarily the same crazy action that we got with the helicopter at prison, but playing off the high to low ground disparity on these tents here, I think it's great, but we've got to keep an eye on the U.S. Army esports.
Yeah, if we get a chance, I'm sure we'll pull up that map feed and take a look at the overall zones as well. Of course, reminder, when you see teams being wiped in the kill feed on the left-hand side, a lot of action, but there is Gulag, so one of these teams will be headed to the Gulag and trying to win their ones. Get back onto the map. We'll look at military. Zach trying to get a hop up just to get some info and then try to make this fight a fight that they have a clear advantage in. Mills, Huskers, Zach the OG. This is a really strong team. Let's see what they're going to do. Found an angle. Take down one. Huskers is moving and grooving. Huskers does not care. That is Duke Dennis. That is Sucre down. That is one team of the U.S. Army esports.
Well, you can see Zach here just kind of completing the sandwich, looking for the final member, and he's just above them. At least we know that. But for Mills, he's kind of trying to lay that trap to make sure there's nowhere for them to go. Prone is the answer, and he actually catches Mills off guard. Now he's got a 1v2 situation, but Zach and Huskers will work together to make sure we clean it up. And you can hear him. That's when you get loud. You're like, I just did that.
Yeah. Hey, the Marines, obviously on your screen. Zach has been a part of this competition for a very long time. You saw him in the highlight reel, even in the promo for this event. We'll check in with him later because we got to check in on the outside of the zone. This is over on the side of Quarry as C-Laner and co are trying to rotate in. Something we always see in Warzone, even in Mini Royale. Vehicles are going to be a huge advantage for rotations and even some team fights.
Well, they definitely got ahead of that one, but back to the bunker we go. Breadman, you saw him in that endgame situation,
Hello.
but Benny with the vibes, Benny with the drives, takes that for a minute, crunches Bread. That one hurts, Benny. That one hurts.
Hey,
I like it. Keep it going.
Benny Central is really exhibiting the true form of double tap right there. Runs over one, backs over the other, and then runs him over for good measure. Wow, Benny didn't have to shoot a gun, man. That's crazy.
Well, he's got the homie, and now we're going to keep on rotating elsewhere. Apollo finds some damage onto Space Force, and this is going to be a nice 3-team battle. At least you're able to get the reset, because a lot of the buy stations, once they redistribute them, it's all out in the open. So the fact that we get that and are immediately able to go scout, because how are you going to be able, unless you've got a ton of lethals to take down Benny? Benny's out of there for free.
Benny Central, of course, British Army on your screen. You can see that BA1, that's British Army 1. His counterpart is Westy, which I don't think we've seen too much of yet. Not sure they know exactly where each other are yet. But a pretty good map for them thus far. It looks like Gibbs got 1, Gibbo's got 1, and Benny's got 2. So a nice little start here. The battle for the bunkers starting off pretty hot. A couple teams trying to figure out, should we just hang out here? This is maybe where end zone's gonna be, out on the runway in the bunkers of the military base. I guess it's fitting for C.O.D.E Bowl here, Tiff.
Well, here we go. The battle of the bunker. Here we come, the equipment. And honestly, we just missed it out, but MZ gets caught in the doorway. And just like that, you've got a full wipe going at the hands of Maddie and Ixie. And they did so brilliant there. But elsewhere on the trees, Jowo kind of had it into his building. But honestly, with CRN, there's only so much you can do here because it's so open. And with no smokes, you really have to rely on the land or terrain around you. Rely on the land or terrain around you.
Teep is our solo YOLO champion last year. Lucky by Corsair, and he is looking to this time win the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl, and then maybe also win the solo YOLO. That would certainly be a feat. I don't think he needs more feathers in his caps, but he's trying to get more of them right now. Nazir down. Unfortunately, as much as we were touting their skills, Coast Guard loses a full trio, and I believe that squad might be fully wiped. We'll double check that here shortly. As you can see, already down to 17 trios left on the map. So we lose another. Huskers has picked up the helicopter here in military base, and they're looking pretty stout. Waiting on Zach the OG to get out of the gulag. That's that skull in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Potentially should get out of it here shortly. Maybe they will eventually go for the buyback. If not, see Sean J Gaming off on the other side. And of course, something to watch out for, but patience is a virtue here for Huskers and Co.
Yeah, I was looking for the ideation behind what we were doing with the piloting of the helicopter and where we were going with it, because we are in that next circle. I was curious if, hey, maybe we're going to take the entire team up onto the roof. You do have the helicopter for cover, but we talk about vehicles all the time in Verdansk, the importance of them, not only for the rotations, the resets, but you're already on 3 kills. Zach, unfortunately, will lose that gulag over towards MZ. So what does that reset look like? Because it is exponentially more difficult in Mini Royale.
Likely we're floating for a while. Oh, quick look at the map view here, folks. Obviously, we are headed to military base. Certainly fitting for C.O.D.E Bowl and a chance to figure out who is going to be the champion of military base in the Call of Duty Endowment Bowl 6. Looking at our teams, number 9, that's going to be Huskers. And I do see a couple teams. I still see Air Force on the map. Sean J Gaming, of course, one side of that is Air Force. Iceman Isaac the other side. I haven't seen him much in the kill feed, but Sophie and Maddie and Icy on your screen right now, they've actually got a lot of kills. As a reminder, Maddie's showing 3. Icy picked up a triple kill by himself a small moment ago. And in the kill feed, briefly, you see Sean J and Tones picking up a couple more. So definitely watch out for Royal Air Force on your screen, but also pay attention. Our top team still dominating.
You mentioned Westy, and asking you shall receive. I like the patience that we have from Maddie here. We're kind of just walking up onto it. You do have Space Force just ahead of them, and they are working on taking down more of that U.S. Coast Guard team. This time, Redman. We saw Jowo fall already, so could not be a good one unless Dawes DeSauce can clutch up here. Behind it, or deployable cover, J Smooth tries to make the peek and retreats in a perfect time. But when your teammate's on the ground, you've got to be flawless. Ooh, nice
gets
read.
tagged up. J-Smooth could EO chow this, but he's going to play it slow.
Are we going to bait this? Are we going to stick it? No, okay, good bait there. But he's actually not going to chow it here. Instead, is focused on the potential peek, shoots through the smoke. We already get the reset off, and J-Smooth takes the chow and doesn't get it. That is the importance of deployable covers.
Yeah, it was a nice trade, though, because he got the revive on Axis. Axis was able to come in, play trades, and pick up the wipe. That was very close. Dawes almost put on a show for us.
Crazy.
So watch out for this team. Sophie is down, but Maddie and Icy are carrying the burden responsibility in the kill category. I'm showing, I think, 7 between the two.
That's huge.
Reminder, between two teams, Coast Guard was in second with 13 points after map 1. These are massive numbers for Mini Royale. This circle is very out in the open. You're gonna have to play loadouts. You're gonna have to play this kind of tank isolated in the center. Maddie picks up another one. That's gonna be 8 kills for the side of this squad. You've got to watch out for this trio. They could take home a ton of points after map 2.
Yeah, even as a duo, so important because they are confident and have the reps in playing with each other. They're really targeting Westy here, but the vehicle is going to live just a bit longer. You're not alone, though. You've got a duo left of the Space Force gaming side of things, and if you run straight into them, well, that's going to be a chow that you're willing to take. I do see a finish onto J-Smooth, but all of that distraction is allowing these two to make their way on out. A nice little restock there, thanks to that loadout.
I'll be very curious to know if FIFA Kill is still on this map. Royal Air Force, of course, on your screen, dominating right now. There's only 2 members left for their trio, but we've got to pay attention to where Whoop-Dee, 2K, and FIFA Kill are, if they're still on this map. Try to get a confirmation of that here shortly, but move over to the crates. On the outside of the zone, a hold here from Huskers. They've been here since the start, and they're looking to execute a fantastic game for the Marines.
Okay, I think this is smart, right? Because this building is kind of just there on the cusp. You do have U.S. Army Esports that are kind of working towards this, and everyone's going to have to come to them. But Sean J Gaming does still have numbers and strength on their side of things. They've got the storage containers, but it's going to be about the timing. Will the U.S. Army move at the exact same time? Because if I'm Huskers, I'm being able to hold from that building, picking them apart. And as I say, Sean J, she's down and out. It's just Tones and Isaac.
Yeah, and of course, this is the team in first. This is Air Force after a banger map 1. But what I see off screen is yellow team number 7. That is FIFA Kill Squad. Royal Air Force have a very good game going right now if they can keep up this pace. Looking for top 5. That's our next multiplier, Tiff. Could be a huge value of points.
This is what I'm worried about. At least Duke has it in them to go off the backside of the building, so you're not parachuting straight into the open arms of Huskers, Zach the OG, and Mills. You're really going through it, but honestly, if you're going to go out in a blaze of glory. But the fact is, we are still up. Sleep on 4 into the 1.5x. And I think I'm cursing people, Go.
Yeah.
I think I am. That's unfortunate.
That is oftentimes known as the caster curse, but sometimes the observer curse. But either way you look at it, Mills is putting on a show as per the usual. This team has been dominating in military right now. The Marines looking very, very strong at military base. Of course, I'm sure Huskers is IGLing. This man has more experience on this map and just frankly in Warzone than almost anybody in history. Been playing since the very beginning, years and years ago. But Mills and Zach the OG certainly are fantastic players as well. They're looking very strong, and they're going to try to push this equation. They've got an advantage. Let's see if we can execute on it. They do end up picking up Maddie. A nice pickup with a thermite.
I mean, it was a direct hit, honestly. With that circle, it pulled straight to them. They're going to be able to make this play straight onto the high ground. They'll have their sights onto FIFA Kill just across the way. I saw Swag there, Space Force still in the thick of it. And you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Because if I'm FIFA Kill, Whoop-Dee, and Harry, based off the action that we saw over at prison, we are letting it rip here.
This is a very good game for Royal Air Force. You're seeing Whoop-Dee on 4 by themselves. I'm not sure what the total kill tally is for this trio, but if they can pick up all of these, Revengeful from distance, but close range, they can't get a handle on Swag, who's trying to make a play, and he's able to do it. FIFA Kill's going to have to play the trade. He's able to finally, off in the distance. Swag with the help of Hale. They win the gunfight. That is a massive takedown on a team who is looking to put up a crazy amount of points.
And Swag doesn't get fooled. The trio likely going to go ahead and try to pick up the captain there, and Huskers, Zach the OG Mills, they've been in control of this space. They're playing the long game, and now with them biding their time on the reset, Huskers can look for the 2x multi. They're going to have these loadouts up here. They can play off the back of all the cover, but Swag has a vehicle, and Swag's taking so much damage.
Space Force versus the Marines, and the Marines now have a clear advantage. Swag trying to get a little fancy with the vehicle or try to get to cover, gets punished for it. A 3v2. These are giant totals in terms of the kill category, and Huskers shoot straight. Holy cow. Another deployable cover helping out, but it does not matter. Huskers and his squad champions. They won the early game. They won the late game. The Marines are on top. Fantastic performance from Zach the OG. He's back.
I told you the moment we were going to military base that Huskers and Co. were going to have such familiarity there, and they crushed it. Celebrations all around, because when you've got a game of 4, returning back and grabbing a win in match number 2 is such a great way to reset your series.
Yeah, and I gotta say,
okay, I see you.
Here's the thing about my GOAT, Zach, all right? I've known this guy for a very long time. The first time I casted over him was on a tiny land in Kansas City 4 years ago, okay? This guy has been in the scene for a very long time. He told me last year he was retiring. He's back in the grandest of fashions, winning map number 2.
He is. Wow, what a show from the Marines. I've got to say, I was listening to your cast. It was perfect from the both of you.
Oh,
and I learned so much. And there's a couple of things that I noted here. Like you said, the comfort level from Huskers and the rest of the boys, the Marines, unbelievable in military base. They were formidable. It felt like a completely different situation from drop number 1. It felt like they had pretty much the control that they needed the entirety of the game. And then there's so much more that I want to talk about here, but I'll let you guys take the highlights. In terms of the high-level stuff, what was really pushing forward for you?
Yeah, I think the small thing I want to mention is obviously Huskers and Marines, they win the drop. So you get yourself very comfortable when you know who's around you. Everybody has to come to you. You've won the center of the zone, and because of that, they had a clear advantage going into the final fights.
And I love just getting to look back at this, because this was a really difficult moment. The moment Huskers walked in, took that building for the Marines, and then everyone's kind of rotating it off short. You tried to hedge your bet by dropping off the back of the building, using the smokes for a rotate, but there's just only so much you can do.
And I think Huskers is probably saying thank you to Team Swag for wiping FIFA Kill. A Royal Air Force, I expect to be near the top of the leaderboard at the end of this one. We got to remember the insane amount of kills from Icy and, of course, Maddie on the other side. And then FIFA Kill's team had a ton of kills as well. And then finally, the final fight, frankly, was Huskers shooting beams. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Complete beams, but I've got to ask about the question of getting in the vehicle from Swag. I mean, we talk about vehicles, how imperative they can be for rotations, right? We love to see it. However, I don't know about the kind of the thought process there. Getting in the vehicle and just full sending it towards that hill. They have the higher ground. They know that they have the beams. They have a better advantage. So for Swag to kind of just basically take it in on the chin, essentially like full blown, that was really difficult to watch that.
It's tough because you have to think about the situation that they just found themselves in. It's, did he have any smokes? What were the other options? And sometimes if you kind of step back in one of the prior fights that we had just witnessed with Space Force, it was Swag on the front line and the remaining 2 kind of on the back holding the angle. So maybe he was like, you know what, I'll take it on the chin. I will drive this vehicle straight into them. I'll cause a distraction. I just need you to connect those lines of sight. But there really wasn't a lot of cover because, like you said, Huskers is just basically beaming straight into him. But it wasn't just Huskers. It was the trio, and they had every angle.
And they also had high ground, too. I mean, it was a really difficult situation because the zone was kind of in the middle, but the edge was on the high ground that Huskers team had already held. So I think Swag was trying to kind of pave away. Unfortunately, Huskers shoot straight, okay? There's a couple people out there that play keyboard and mouse still, and Huskers is one of them. And sometimes it has a small advantage in some of these long sight lines like that. So you can't count them out, I'm just saying.
You can't count them out. Yeah, incredible stuff basically from all of our squads here. But I've got to say, the Marines, they are starting to climb up the leaderboard. Very impressed with what I saw. And Huskers leading the charge. He is feeling back at home, I would say, Goj.
Yeah, back at home. I mean, Verdansk is quite literally his home. I mean, he and Swag got their start, obviously, the very beginning of Warzone. But a lot of these guys, Zach the OG, we were just talking about, our military service members, they've been playing since the beginning, too. I think everybody's feeling at home back on our OG map.
I got to ask a little bit about, you know, the approach, especially now we're halfway through, had the second drop. What would you be doing differently if you're some of the other teams that are kind of just trying to pick up the pieces, they're slacking a little bit? What are you noticing, especially early game, Tiff, that might make a massive difference from how they're even approaching it?
Yeah, so basically in match number 1, that was pretty difficult, right? Because if you're all landing prison, it's like, okay, maybe I'll take this little Spire for myself, or maybe I'll go for the helicopter. But when you have match number 2 and you kind of open it up a bit more in terms of land and what you can do is, yes, you've got military base, you've got the 10 fights, you've got the bunkers, but we're noticing those people that are fighting it out for the helis, and Huskers grabs it that time and commands a lot of space with it, because if you can have that pressure kind of lifted off you by saying, hey, I'm going to have easier rotations, I don't have to worry about that, I can just pick and choose my smart fights and not get caught up in kind of the encompassing multitude of those fourth and fifth parties.
Yeah, well, the thing about Mini Royale, again, I said this at the top of the show, it is all adapting. It is all thinking on your feet. You do not have designated drop spots. You're not like, hey, we've been repping this spot. We've been repping Hospital for the last like half a year.
Yeah,
this is totally thinking on your feet. They drop early, they win the POI, and because they won the POI, they had the advantage start to finish. Let's take a look at our leaderboard, though, and woo, this is just from game 2. Marine Corps Gaming put up 35 points.
It's massive.
I knew it was a lot. I didn't know it was quite that much. They had, it looks like Alpha, which is Husker, Zach the OG, who won the map. They had 13 kills, which in Mini Royale is insane. 2x multiplier, that's 26. Lottie, this is a crazy leaderboard from Marine Corps. But of course, Royal Air Force, I expected them to be near the top. They're podiuming in map number 2.
They certainly are indeed. And of course, that was just map 2. Here are the total standings with all of our maps put together. And Air Force Gaming, they are still right at the top. And that's because they had such an incredible first drop in here. The Royal Air Force Esports, they're climbing right underneath them. We were talking about a 10-point deficit before this. Now it's only a 0.5. The climb is happening. And of course, Marine, they are doing everything that they need to do in order to climb that leaderboard. 39 points, not far behind. If you're Air Force right now, I have so many questions about how you handle this. Are you going to really turn on the aggression? That's what I want to know. Are we going to be seeing a serious amount of aggression from them?
Only got 2 more maps to go, but we got to go to our drop 2 winners down at the stage there. Our winners, of course, Marine Corps. They're standing by with reflections for our squad goals interview presented by USAA.
And welcome into our USA Squad Goals interview. The Marines get it done, and Zach the OG is on top. The OG, when it comes to Code Bowls, retirement, it didn't happen. You're back. What happened?
I was done playing at the end of last year. I had a kid coming. I didn't want to dedicate the time. I have an amazing wife. Shout out her. And she knows that I wanted to keep competing, and so she took on a little bit more responsibility for me to keep doing the thing I love in the last year I have in the military.
That's a beautiful story, and obviously a good support system takes you a long way. Zach, Marines have struggled throughout Code Bowls. You guys are overdue for a win, as far as I'm concerned. You won the last game last year, but still far away from Army, who ended up taking it all. What makes this year different, and what do you think your chances are to maybe take Code Bowl for the first time?
I think chances are great. We had a couple like warm-up games, like warm-up scrims, and we were the best team, average placement, average kills. Like we were frying. Like that game you just saw was what we played every single pregame. You know, I think this year specifically with MCG, we've actually invested in the Warzone groups. So like we've only brought like MP cats and like very talented Call of Duty players, but VR is just very different. So this is the first year we've brought Warzone, and I mean it's showing. Like our other team did really well, good kills, top 10. We got good kills, won. So really excited. We have a whole like real group of 4 players that actually drop into the map now.
Well, Zach, being an OG in the Code Bowl, this might be your last year officially. I want to give the mic to you one last time, maybe maybe your final chance to talk to everybody out there who's been supporting you over the years.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Everyone back home, mom, dad, wife, my son Callum. I love you guys so much. Thank you for this. Like every time I come to these, it's just kind of crazy. Like I'm just a kid from Kansas City who joined the Marine Corps who likes playing Call of Duty, and like I've come to 3 COD Next, Code Bowl, and all this kind of stuff. It's been awesome.
Well, Zach, best of luck in the tournament. You've got 2 more games in the regular gameplay before Solo Yellow. Zach the OG, the Marines, are they on top? Let's find out.
Well, that was our squad goals interview presented by USAA. Along with award-winning service, USAA is known for squadding up with military service members and their families. And like Zach the OG said, he's got a great family and a great support system, and obviously they showed out in drop number 2. Unbelievable stat line from them. I think the biggest technically, or very, very close to the biggest between the two drops, 35 points overall for the Marine Corps. Huge drop 2 from them. Big shout out to Zach's wife, by the way, as well, staying home and letting him do what he loves and living out his dream. But I've also, want to kind of pick apart something he said and mentioned. First year, they're bringing on Warzone players. And for folks at home who might not know the difference, what are the big differences between Warzone players and multiplayers? Because you look at things and you think, well, it is Call of Duty. What could be so drastically different? Well, there's a bunch, isn't there? Yeah, I mean, there certainly is, Tiff. I don't know if you're going to take this one. We're going to get roasted on Twitter for this.
No,
but I think for me, it is about understanding the map.
Yeah, I think that's true because, I mean, look, multiplayer, it's reading the spawns, it's being able to kind of work cohesive in like such a fast-paced environment. With Warzone, it's understanding rotations in the competitive setting. Where are your biggest competition? What spots do they like to land? Am I going to hit them on rotation? How my resource management, my UAVs, like my vehicles, like you need all of that. And there's so many factors to continue on, but you're not just worried about one other team that you're facing in multi, right? You've got 150 players on big map. It's a lot.
Also, you can just get shot from so many angles. If you don't know the map, you're going to get fried. It just is what it is. You might be able to shoot straight. You got to know the map. Verdansk is one that many know, though, and it's obvious on screen right now with the way they're playing. Regardless of the fact they have to adapt, they know the map.
I'm hearing great at multitasking, good at reacting on the fly, and multiplayer is, you know, systems, it's organization, knowing exactly what's coming, when it's coming, and being able to do that. Fantastic stuff. Well, folks, actually, a reminder that this year, Monster Energy is returning as a partner of Cold Bowl 6. To celebrate, we are bringing back the Monster Energy Most Valuable Player MVP Award. The award will be decided by the Code Bowl 6 broadcast team and will be given to honor the standout performance of a military member who exhibited a relentless pursuit of victory and they unleashed the beast on the competition. So stay tuned at the end of the broadcast to see who will be crowned the new Monster Energy MVP, and the recipient will receive the Monster Energy MVP Award and crown this year's Monster Energy MVP of Code Bowl. Look at that ring as well, folks. That was that's some bling. There it is. It's insane. This is like NFL back here. This is absolutely gorgeous. Your hand is going to be incredibly heavy, to say the least. And based on what we've seen so far, though, I have to ask my wonderful casters on who we think might just be taking away this award this time around. Tiff, got any thoughts and feelings on that?
It's really tough because I think we've seen a couple powerful moments from a couple different branches, right? Like you have Swag's team, the way they're working together, that synergy of setting up those plays and kind of using the knowledge and chemistry together. I think that's impressive, but also just hearing from Zach. There's a lot of moments where, hey, if they run it back for our last two matches of the day, just like what we saw, and they claimed that they ran that in their practice and warm-up games coming into this, I think there's a very good chance that one member of the Marines could easily have that.
If Air Force steps back up, it could be Tones. Put up great kills in the first map. Second map, a little bit struggling, but overall, still solid stat lines and near the top of the leaderboard.
Well, to celebrate all things MVP, the Call of Duty Endowment and Monster partnered to develop the calling card that is going to be super sick. Let me tell you, you guys saw it earlier, but I'm just going to go ahead and say I want to unleash the beast alongside of our players. It's the custom calling card that will be automatically granted when you log into Call of Duty. It's called Unleash the MVP, so go check it out and equip it now. Thank you so much, Monster Energy. It's just been so cool to have all of these fun things. But guys, we will be right back with more Code Bowl 6.
USAA serves the military community and their families with the unrivaled support you've earned. Monster Energy. Grab a co-branded can of Monster Energy. Duty with Corsair Duty Endowment. Enjoy 72 hours sweat and odor protection. Starting November 8th, Pilot will be partnering with the Endowment for the 7th year in a row. You can round up your change in-store at checkout with 100% of net proceeds going to the Call of Duty Endowment. Through the partnership to date, Pilot and Endowment have helped over 8,000 vets gain meaningful employment. If you head into any Pilot or Flying J location, you can join in on the fight to help get our veterans back to work.
Welcome back. We are almost ready for our next drop. I am so excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. But honestly, before we get into that next drop, I do just want to say that I love these Through Dark jackets. They are super cozy. And honestly, Lottie, come on, work it, girl. I see what you're doing. Yeah, give us the full gamut of it all.
Oh, here we are.
a moment for the jacket. So shout out Through Dark, seeing the hosts and, you know, some of the captains geared up in matching Through Dark Code Bowl 6 jackets really ties the event together. Feels like one squad, one mission, all here to support the Call of Duty Endowment. Reminder to go check out throughdark.com for more awesome gear designed by UK Special Forces. I heard one of them even climbed Mount Everest this summer, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, a reminder for those of you that are just tuning in, the teams will now compete in, of course, 4 drops overall of Mini Royale on Verdansk. Each team receives 1 point for every elimination, and depending on where they finish, there's also placement multipliers you can see on your screen now. So it's really crucial to make it to the final circle, of course. Now, since each military branch has 2 trios, each of their scores are going to be added together. And I want to take a look at the standings before we go into our 3rd drop, because this will set the tone. We are only playing 4 games. And here's our scores as of right now. It is very close at the top.
It's incredibly close. And I think something that I love about the system here at COD Bowl with the multipliers is, yes, you want to finish first. Don't get me wrong. And it's fantastic. It's a great feeling. But you need to be aggressive. You need to be getting these kills. You need to be going for these chows. That's so important, because what is the point of sneaking a win if you don't have any kills to your name? What does the multiplier do?
Not much. Not much, but honestly, to get 46 points after 2 matches, and we have just a half a point separating Air Force Gaming and Royal Air Force Esports. At this point, we can see Air Force unstoppable, but now I feel like we got to start turning the competition between the Air Force Gaming and Royal Air Force Esports.
Yeah, and Marine Corps, you got to remember, they put up 35 points in Game 2. That means their first drop, they put up 4. That's between 2 trios combined. Crazy. The question I have is, of course, can they stay consistent? After a game like that in the first round, they rally back and put up a crazy number, 35 points.
Indeed. I got to say, I love consistency, but I love disruption as well. So I'm hoping to see somebody crawl back into the mix.
I think that's going to be really fun to witness. But thanks to USAA, every hour that you watch this broadcast earns you more rewards through Twitch drops. We're talking an animated emblem, a custom spray, a weapon charm, and here's my favorite, the weapon blueprint. Stack those rewards just by staying locked in. Big shout out to USAA for backing the military community.
Yeah, hey, and operators, stay sharp. Black Ops 7 beta codes are dropping right here during COD Bowl 6. You've been seeing them on the left side of your screen. Be ready to lock in, claim your code, and deploy early into the fight.
Ooh, speaking of fights, here's the deal. We have our next hot drop presented by Gillette Antiperspirant. This time, one of my favorites, Quarry. Talk about being caught between a rock and a hard place. It is one of the most challenging drops on the map. So, Goj, talk me through some of it, because I think that we're going to manifest actually going to Quarry.
Okay, I'm excited to talk about Quarry. This is a drop that usually can support multiple trios. It's one that on the map doesn't look gigantic, but there's a lot of room to work because of these large buildings. There's obviously multiple levels in these buildings, and there's teams that oftentimes will drop here, both be on the same POI, but not interact with each other for like 5 to 6 minutes on big map. Mini Royale obviously will look a little bit different, but there's a lot of room to work with, almost like a quad area in the center, a lot of buildings, and a lot of ways to travel between the buildings. Some very interesting fights here.
There really just are so many places to navigate in Quarry with players that are just constantly on edge with a lot of those sight lines, so it makes split-second decisions just so much more important. But like the pros navigating these intense zones, you do have to stay cool under pressure. That's where Gillette Antiperspirant comes in, keeping you feeling fresh, confident, and dry, even when things get heated.
Speaking of getting heated, I want it to get heated right now. We talked about the consistency a second ago. I want the disruption. And talking about the hot drops that you guys just wonderfully analyzed for us, do you think we're going to be seeing a couple of the teams that are really trying to scrape the barrel with points here, dropping into places that are going to be incredibly risky, but because they desperately need those rewards?
High risk, high reward versus slow play the edge of gas. It's something we always talk about with Warzone. Certainly will come into play with Mini Royale as well. There is, yes, a smaller map, but it is still a map that you can choose to play a little less risky. If you're at the bottom of the leaderboard, we only have 2 maps to go. Absolutely could be the case. Some teams just drop straight into the middle of the map and say, well, we'll figure it out when we get there.
I actually like the fly by the seat of my pants kind of vibe, right? I mean, what do you have to lose? If you're only looking up, this is the best time for you to get Mixy. It's not the final drop. Who knows? We've seen 20-plus point games, and that'll get you right into the mix, especially if you do have a 46-point, a 45.5 right at the top 2. Yeah. It really is a lot of room for improvement. You just need that 25 to 30-point game.
All right, calling you guys out. I've got to know, who are you saying? Drop hot. take a risk? Is it Coast Guard? Where are we seeing Coast Guard?
Army.
It's Army.
It's Army, for sure. I mean, they're
They
defending champions, and every time we've seen them, it's been like an almost. I mean, we saw them obviously in military there, off rip. If they win the fight against the Marines, that could have been them in the final circle. That could have been Duke Dennis winning a map with Sucre and Sleep. Like, absolutely, U.S. Army needs to stay hot. They need to stay aggressive. They can put up big numbers. We haven't really heard a big peak from Aiden as well on the other side of Army.
That is actually really interesting, and that's not very characteristic of Aiden. He doesn't like to go under the radar, especially after some big wins this summer. You want to kind of keep that momentum moving forward, and honestly, now that we've mentioned his name, maybe, just maybe, they'll win this next match.
Maybe. We might see something just coming out of the woodworks. Aiden, we're calling for something crazy.
We're summoning you.
Get a bit mixy out there, mate. Yeah, we are summoning you. That's exactly what's happening.
Well, before we head into drop number 3, we have another major announcement from the endowment. This time on a new way that you can support veterans. The Call of Duty Endowment is officially a part of Lyft's Roundup and Donate platform. Just open up your Lyft app, choose the Call of Duty Endowment as your charity, and round up your fare to help place veterans into high-quality jobs. It's that easy to make a difference and turn every ride into a mission for good.
Incredible stuff. I will say, you know, we've seen a kind of few lifts happening literally in Verdansk. We've seen cars coming out of nowhere. We've seen Benny Central running over people left, right, and center, but, you know, holstering his guns, his weapons. No, just put him behind a wheel, a British man with, I'm sure, a great driver's license, and he will do the absolute most, no matter where it is. I'm actually loving the vehicle kills. I think they're so fun.
As long as they're in game and not on the strip. I don't want to see Benny behind the wheel out here.
That is very true. A really cool charity opportunity, by the way. Lyft, shout out to you guys in Call of Duty Endowment. That is the easiest way to give to charity, just rounding up your fare. Like, come on, that's so super, super cool.
It certainly is cool indeed, and I certainly will be doing that while I'm here in Vegas and enjoying the pleasantries that we do find around the strip, but including, of course, this incredible Code Bowl. I'm having an absolute blast. Halfway through we are, folks. I'm interested to see who's really going to start to kick it up another notch, another gear, because I was quite shocked by how well Air Force did do in that first drop. I mean, first and second place, they are really putting on a show here, and then we see the Marines just come to life. Do we have a third on here? Are you looking at Army to start making some names? But you did mention Coast Guards as well, Goj, earlier on before we did drop into Verdansk.
I know.
So how are you feeling about them?
I can talk about everybody. I mean, I think Coast Guard's looking fine. I think they're around middle of the pack overall. I think they've got a little room to improve, but that's just the nature of the game. Sometimes you have a bad map. You could see somebody that we're not even talking about win these next 2 maps and potentially win this whole tournament. That's the nature of a 4-drop tournament like this. However, I'm really liking Royal Air Force. We got to mention how big of a game they actually put up last map as well. If the Marines hadn't put up a 13-kill win for 26 points, we would have seen Royal Air Force actually collectively be the top team from drop 2. When you've got a squad, when you've got 2 trios that can put up great numbers, that is going to be a huge boon overall on the leaderboard, of course, but also could be a difference maker on winning or maybe getting second.
I mean, Air Force and then Royal Air Force 1 and 2 right now. There's something in the air, folks, and it might just be a helicopter, because that is going to be a massive key coming into this next drop. I think if you do want that leg up, that is going to be the name of the game heading into it. We're looking right now across the leaderboard. Here are the standings. As you can see, Air Force only 8.5 separating them from their fellow Air Force members, but over in the UK. And the Marine Corps, they are just tucked under there, and don't count them out, folks. I will ask you, though, Tiff, about Space Force Gaming. They are not far behind in 4th place right now. Do you feel like they've got a good chance, a punter's chance here? Because what have you seen from them so far in the first half?
Well, we've seen a couple different moments, right? You can talk about Jay Smooth, one of the captains there, I believe, on the second team for Space Force Gaming. Think back to match number 1. They took a really exceptional fight out on that gas line. And then you kind of jump forward into match number 2. You've got Swag, right? Just playing around the bunkers with the vehicle. Sure, it was a Hail Mary send trying to get across for that final fight against the Marine Corps Gaming. Anything can happen. With 46 points being the top of the leaderboard, that's a 23-point game average. It's tough to maintain something that's sitting around 25 to 26, but hey, with only 4 matches, it can very well happen. But if you're sitting at around that 30.5, just about 15 points outside of the lead, that is one of those good games that Goj was mentioning. It's like, what, 8 kills at a 2x multi? That's 16, you're golden, but you have to prey on the downfall of the Air Force.
I like Space Force Gaming a lot. I you know, no flame, but I think for me to say, hey, maybe Jay Smooth Smooth could win a tournament is kind of a big deal.
Wow.
Okay, look, he's playing great. He's winning ones. This is a different J Smooth than I've seen in any other tournament in the past. But I am looking at Swag's trio, Revengeful in particular from that trio. He's been looking very strong on the map, putting up nice numbers. This is a player that, yes, a military service member. I've actually seen him compete in other events as well. Watch out for this guy. He could make solo plays. He could be the hero, or they could just play well as a trio.
I've got to also ask a little bit about Navy. You know, we had a lot to say about them coming into this as well. How are we feeling about their chances? Because as you get into that drop number 3, those chances start to lower. You know, you then only have one game to get it done. I mean, how aggressive do you need to be in that 5th position?
I mean, you're down by 20 some odd points from the first place position. I mean, frankly, we're playing for the win. There is no, I mean, second place matters, third place matters in terms of posterity, but we are playing to win this tournament. The biggest games of the day have been around 35 points between 2 trios combined. So if you start dropping outside of that going into the last round, it's kind of like, hey, it's a little too late. This is the time to step up. If you're Army, if you're RCAF, if you're Royal Navy, even Coast Guard, you've got to make a move right now.
Yeah, you certainly do indeed. We also saw something, a lot of baiting that was happening, especially early game. But when it comes to the later part of the game, I think the baiting is even more crucial. You're finding yourselves against teams that only have 2. They have a member who's completely gone and out, and they're having to struggle through it and push through. How important is baiting going to be at different points in time as the circles are closing?
You kind of get a feel, right? It goes back to resource management. If you're constantly poking and prodding at these teams that are across the way, not only do you get information on their numbers, but you're denying them the chance to go into those final fights with the potential for plates, or maybe you've already burned their thermites and their smokes, and next thing you know, it's just playing smart on your positioning.
Cough swag.
Now, you know, it happens, right? But then we also have to think about that priority positioning. Because sure, getting God spot early is great, but the timing's not right and you walk into it too early, you run the risk of losing it. And that's where you think about Bredman from the U.S. Coast Guard there in match number 1. Tried to play for endgame, but got absolutely rolled by Iceman Isaac.
Yeah, you know, something we talk about in Warzone all the time is what advantages do you have and how do you capitalize on them? There's a ton of different advantages. You could have resource management advantages. Do I have a gas mask? Do I have my utility? Do I have my equipment, right? We've been talking about that all day. But the other thing is just player advantage. Just having a full team of 3 is usually a difference maker. It is usually what wins you games. And so we saw it in the final fight there. It's kind of a microcosm for the way the rest of the map's been playing out. Huskers takes down Swag. It's a 3v2. There's just about nothing you can do. Player advantage is almost everything. If you have a full team of 3 going into the final circle, you're going to have a lot of advantage to win the whole map.
And not only that, but since this is mini royale, you burn your gulags earlier. Everything's kind of fast-paced, but the lack of buy stations, it's really tough to get back to those full amount of numbers for the end game. So if you go down to a duo or a solo, you're looking, hey, where's the nearest buy station? Oh my gosh, there's only 1 left in circle, and I've got to trek across this open terrain to get over there, and it's just not worth the risk, because at that point, if you're into the 1.5x multiplier, which is all you need is top 10 for that, okay, so every kill is worth 1.5. My value in that game at this point in time is to play low, smart, and look for every kill that I can maximize my points with.
Love hearing that. I mean, it literally was a staple, right? I mean, military base, one of the most open finishes that you could ask for. Very, very difficult to be able to kind of get an adjustment happening on your side. If you don't get there first and you don't have the position that Huskers and Co had, it can be really, really tough. Speaking of advantages though, and I actually mentioned the duos, we actually saw a duo left that were really, really cracked out of their minds. Icy and Matty. I want to talk about some of the service members and how good they are at the game, because the advantage of having position, the equipment, whatever you need in your arsenal to get it done is fantastic, but the advantage of having cracked out players is also something else. So who's been really kind of pushing forward for you guys, not with our creators here, but on their own?
Yeah, this is why I was talking about Royal Air Force. I think it's a really good call out, Lottie. Maddie and Icy were putting up crazy numbers, but it was both sides of that Royal Air Force. It was Whoopty. We saw it 4 or 5 kills going into the final circle, and I know that 2K also had some who was playing with FIFA kill. They end up getting wiped by Swag at the end, but we're a top 5 team. It doesn't matter, and they had enough kills to put them near the top of the leaderboard. I really like the shout there. Again, want to shout out Revengeful. I'm looking, though, when I look at U.S. Army, and I look, obviously, Aiden, Duke Dennis, a great player and a big celebrity and all of that stuff, not necessarily a massive COD player. I'm looking at Sukra on Army to really step up and kind of take the lead for that trio to kind of keep the pace and try to change this leaderboard up.
I think that's really smart, and honestly, when you kind of look back into some of the replays that we had, or even just the games in general, just how close together our service members are playing. It's almost like our creators that are kind of just anchoring themselves out a bit further. I don't know if they're actually IGLing, because you never know. If you're confident, you're cracked, you're in the top 250 ranked grind leaderboard, you're like, no. You sit back, my man, I've got this.
Yeah, hey, and even on Air Force, I mean, at the very beginning, Tones, Isaac C.O.D.E playing with Sean J Gaming. Watch out for that duo, man. They were the last two alive for that trio. Sean J ended up going out a little bit earlier, so watch out for Tones. He's put up good numbers. I said he could potentially be one of our monster MVPs as well, but I believe our game about to get started, our players flying in, and we are loading into the map, folks, and I am so excited to drop in for map number 3, Tiff.
This is a game of quadrants here on Verdansk. You've seen prison. You've seen military base. The question is, where are we heading for match number 3 of C.O.D.E Bowl 6? And I don't know, maybe it's got something to do with some of those hot spots we were talking about, the hot drops.
Certainly could.
I see you, Corey.
There's Corey, and it is technically at least playable area on the map and inside the zone. A slight look at over the top. Should be a zone that goes from Corey all the way down past TV station. We'll get a read on that map as soon as we can, but it's going to be utter chaos in Corey. We said it could be a hot drop, and it certainly is. Who's got the script behind the scenes? Holy cow. Corey looking gross already. Things are getting spicy.
Well, you heard from Zach. Didn't want to retire just yet. Had the wife step up. Congratulations to their first child. And sometimes it's even better when you win on a main stage and you've got your family back at home watching you.
That's exactly right. Here we go. A lot of kills exchanging hands right now. Mills has picked up a couple from distance, but right now it's just figuring out, get your information the best way you can. If it's just spotting them, sure. But if you can get enough cash to get some UAVs in the sky quickly, this could help you out dramatically with the fight over Corey.
I'm nervous about this rotation on out of it. As you can see, they went undergoing a lot of pressure, trying to get a good position into Quarry, and now you find yourself in the Gulag. We haven't really had a chance to talk about MZ, Star-Lord, and Downela here on the screen. MZ, a sniper, an insane player when it comes to Call of Duty, and has so many years of competitive experience, but together, alongside the two service members, I think this is a solid anchoring position. These buildings can be difficult to fight about because you do have this bridge here and a couple different openings, but you've got to stay together.
Shout out to my man Star-Lord, a great player, great karaoke singer as well. Here we go. We're going to swing down, try to take this fight on Sleep. Off to the races. Sleep knows that they have a huge disadvantage. As we were talking about, they were actually during the break here just a second ago, right before the game. Sleep, as a solo, tries to make a hero play. It is not going to go their way. A nice pickup by the entire team. As we move on our merry way to Sean J Gaming, Isaac C.O.D.E. This is that Air Force squad we were talking about in map number 1. A little bit of a quieter game in map number 2. Military base can start here in this one. We're going to get out of it quickly as we head to the Gulag for the first time on main. Mills going to show us what they've got. A big take, early blood. Can they get the full?
Oh, it's a heavy-hitting one. The first time we're really seeing Aiden, and Mills takes down a returning champion to get out of the Gulag. Look, I'm telling you, there are specific moments in competitive scenarios, and that one is one I'll remember.
Totally agree. CRN, Teep in a bit of trouble right now. It's going to be all Teep all day by himself. Apollo down, Spinaman, Dawes, Breadman. They know they can play this slow. They don't even need to. A nice trap, a nice setup. They don't even lose a life for it. Well done. Teep goes down. It's a brutal way to start through the side of Navy. Losing a full trio. They will be in the Gulag, though. We still have all 20 trios on the map. Redmond and Co. kind of wiping the outside of the map. We talk about high risk versus high reward. Obviously, Quarry was high risk, high reward. Some teams elected to play slow and play the outside of the map and work their way in here, Tiff.
Yeah, speaking of working their way in, you really got to use this heartbeat sensor, kind of get the lay of the land. We do not have Zach in the match. So thinking of where that nearest buy station is going to occur, at least Huskers does have the cash to go ahead and hit the reset, but working alongside Mills, who definitely has a player, and this is what happens. The fact that we get out with our life, sure, just 1 HP, it's going to open the floodgates and likely the full send here. Huskers is probably going to have to buy them both back.
Mills is going to have to be a hero. Able to line him up, able to knock him down. Mills picks up a two-piece without a plate to his name. And look who's sniping from the distance. Nazir just love taps him and takes him down to the ground. But either way you look at it, that was foul. There's a reason this team is near the top of our leaderboard, and they are still on the map, still fighting, regardless of an early and frustrating start.
I love how I said, oh, he's probably going to have to get bought back. No, make me eat my words. Just prove me wrong. For Z-Laner, returning from last year, outplayed. Aces alongside him, but we've got the trophy, we've got the vehicle, and the world of Verdansk is our oyster.
Sophie's picking up a two-piece on Swag and Hale. Let's go, Sophie. Talking about your teammates, Maddie and Icy, but Sophie, a fantastic player in their own right. Great to see you out here competing. That's 3 kills for Sophie. This is another great game at hand for Royal Air Force. Reminder, they're a top 3 team right now. Barely not in first, just outside of the top spot. Get picked off screen, just picks up a triple and wipes all of Squad 10. Wow, what is going on in this kill feed? It is nonstop action. I think, by the way, I just saw FIFA Kill's team get wiped, and I think I saw our overall team trio counter drop down 1. There is a chance that FIFA Kill and his trio is out of this map, which would spell disaster for Royal Air Force, the other side of Royal Air Force.
Well, for the Marine Corps, this is looking a little sketchy, right? Huskers on 1 kill, definitely need to get the teammates back on into it. But it's just a moment, especially after getting the interview with Zach and hearing about how they warmed up for this and came in. They're like, yeah, match number 2, that was very much indicative of how we've been playing. But for now, it seems a bit chaotic, a little too Army-like for me.
Yeah. You can see Westy on your screen for one of the first couple times that we've been able to see him. This is, of course, British Army, and this is the 2nd squad. His counterpart is Benny Central. Geldog and Gibbo on the other side, paired up with Alvin Ryan on this side, but Huskers as a solo, doing what he does best, which is beam down the competition. That's Smixy falling early. Huskers is having to play this life, having to play this map entirely by himself. Zach the OG and Mills will not get back onto this map unless he buys them, and he is off to the races. This could spell disaster for what was a ton of momentum on the side of Marine Corps.
I don't see us getting out of here, and if we do, if we're able to get away from Space Force as well, Swag a solo off into the distance, my only thing is there's no real benefit to be chased out here. Thanks to the heartbeat sensor, he's going to get the information that Swag with the most wanted.
No.
We just caught that on main.
Line him up, knock him down. Huskers is crushing it right now to stay alive and pick up kills is insane. This is what he does best. There is FIFA Kill, and this time that is going to be a full wipe, so we'll see FIFA and Harry and his whole team get wiped actually by Coast Guard, who's seemingly actually picking up a 2-piece there. Both sides of Coast Guard get full wipes. Watch out for that Coast Guard team. They could be back near the top of the leaderboard after this one.
All I see is the beta code transmission going off to the left-hand side of the screen. Good luck on the deciphering. It's a nice race, and quite frankly, I wish I was out there kind of battling for it because October 2nd couldn't be here faster. But honestly, Code Bowl 6 proving to have some highlight moments. For Scrub on 2, not alone.
Uh-oh, hello. Apollo on main, picking up a 2-piece, Z-Laner and outplayed. Working with Teep, they are fully restabilized after we saw them get full wiped and sent to the gulag. This is a crazy moment. Scrub, as a solo, is able to take down Z-Laner. Ace is on the other side, trading of blows. And Tiff, I think our analysis of Quarry was correct. Not only a hot drop, it can support a lot of teams. There's a lot of room to work with on this POI.
Yeah, you kind of get into one of the favorite things that you love to call it, a layer cake, right? You got the multi-levels of these vicinities and all the catwalk and staircases and bridges. It leaves for a ton of players in an endgame situation. We're not even into the multiplier just yet. So if you've fallen outside the top 10, it's going to cost you on that overall leaderboard. And for Sophie Snaz to get picked up by Bredman, it's going to be difficult. Scrub, though, I kind of like if we just keep positioning ourselves, because not only are you not giving audio cues to the other team, you're looking for them yourself.
Yeah, look at that mini map at the top left-hand corner, folks. That's a lot of teams. You can count them yourself if you want. I'm looking at like 6, 7, I don't know, a ton out there. But Scrub has got a long angle, playing the outside. They're going to play nice and slow here. There's no reason to push. You don't have an advantage. Same thing here for Teep and Apollo. One thing I am noticing, Tiff, we've been talking a lot about advantages. Player advantage is huge. A couple of these teams missing a player. But resources coming into play more than maybe traditional big map. There is a lot of folks not have any plates in pocket. resources are very few and far between with the amount of teams that are in this final circle.
And it's so hard when you have people like Teep, your solo YOLO winner from last year, ready to pre-fire if needed. The moment you hear someone come up that staircase, he's gonna light him up. And Maddie, you can see on the outskirts, just kind of trying to play it slow, especially when your teammate is trying to get back and fray, but we slide across the opening, and it's gonna give Teep the information that he needs. But I like that we're not
Hello. Good morning, Icy. You've had a great map thus far, but unfortunately you get cut down, and that is a wipe on squad 20. Icy, Maddie, we were hyping them up. Unfortunately, they couldn't put up crazy numbers in this map. I believe they just fell in 12th overall. So we continue to watch these team tally drop. We are at 11 out of 20 still on the map. 26 players in Quarry. 11 teams now inside of this single POI. And without that early looting phase that a traditional BR map offers, everyone extremely low on resources. It's looking like Alb may be the only player on this team with a gas mask, but this team does have a sizable amount of plates and a self-res on one player, so overall looking pretty stout on top of the building. Inside, though, I mean, Teep's got a plate and a half. Could play with his gas mask potentially, but Apollo only has flesh to work with. Let's see what he's able to do with it. A lot of fights happening off screen. Legion down. That's Tones and Isaac C.O.D.E picking up a couple more. Hyping them up for good reason. I think Coast Guard's gonna have a really good map this time around. I think both of our Coast Guard teams are fully stabilized. They have all three. Look at them, Bread's there in the off kind of angle here with our X-ray vision. Number 19, watch out for Coast Guard. They've got a great game at hand.
Solid positioning. I'm looking for Sean J as well. Zyro on the outside. Now, you do have to deal with the Coast Guard ahead of you. You can see Yazir taking a ton of damage, and I don't think you're gonna re-peak that immediately, but what it does do is give you the information of where this trio is, and that pool is so favorable for the U.S. Coast Guard. Joe, you better thank your COD gods for that one.
Yeah, Joe's team, Coast Guard, they've got a building entirely to themselves, and it's one of the only remaining buildings inside the zone. This is a huge push. Zyro's team's gonna have to work a miracle here to win this. They don't have the positioning, they don't have the high ground, and they're low on resources. Then they lose a player actually on the hand of Iceman Isaac. They go in trying to tag anybody up, but they're not gonna get anything for it. All three go down. Iceman Isaac grabbing one of those kills as a solo. Ice is that green 17 you see on the outside of the zone. He's gonna have to work in as a solo and continue to try to rally up some points for Air Force, who is still technically in first. And a quick chow, Teep, pick up another.
It's a nice cleanup, and an extra 1.5 points go the way of this roster. Thankfully, we're 7 squads left, and probably about to lose out on a couple more. You got Axis and Scrub down below, and I'd imagine that Teep is on the hunt to clear them out so they can rotate with no one at their backs. But we need to be worried about forward. U.S. Coast Guard is doing everything that they can. You got Westy up there on the roof.
Yeah, Westy's on the roof for a moment, and actually, he just kind of tanks those bullets from Teep and Apollo. They go swinging up, they're getting cut down. Apollo's gonna be a solo, and then they get cut down. Low resources, no smokes to work with. They can't cross this positioning. This zone is brutal for most. Isaac C.O.D.E is picking up kill after kill after kill. We might have lost one trio on the side of Air Force, but the other dominating on the off building. We've got Coast Guard by themselves. You see Grand Poobah in the dark orange. And then over here in the light orange, this is going to be Air Force, Sean J Gaming, Isaac C.O.D.E, Tones, putting up a great map to try to maintain the top position on the leaderboard.
They were only in the lead by half a point, but after this, it could be different. Here comes the full send. You were talking about burnt orange. You can see Spinnerman there, looking to open it up with Dawes. Isaac gets plated back on up and goes for the chow.
Isaac C.O.D.E does not care. He did not ask, and he will take your body as well. 2 go down from Isaac, and he's going to find the third. Breadman can't breathe for a matter of a moment and gets cut down. But luckily on the other side, Coast Guard, they might have lost a trio on main, but the other trio, Joe, Grand Poobah, from distance, enacting a bit of revenge as they have closed the gap and are now playing top 3, yes, but they are playing for the win.
Here's the challenging 6 total players. Ryan playing spoiler, and now you just got Grand Poobah against the world. But is it enough? Because it's Ryan on the other side. A 1v1 here in match number 3.
Grand Poobah, Coast Guard. They had a solid map 1, and they need a win, and they need it bad. Ryan on the other side can't find his opponent. Ryan in, somehow turns and burns. Ryan will be your solo champion for that one. Ryan wins the map over a desperate Coast Guard trio. What a spin and what a finish.
I am shocked. And when you think about Ryan's positioning, playing alongside kind of that Spire there, he kind of makes his way on over, immediately starts focusing Jowo. Now, here's the deal. Lottie and I were talking about this earlier, just before this, in regards to the power plays that a solo in an end game situation can make, whether or not it's playing for your team and trying to get those 1.5x valued kills, fighting for a 2x. But you can really challenge the entire endgame and change the story for who actually gets the win, even if you're in a power position.
Yeah, I got no idea which team Ryan's on. I'm gonna be honest. I think he changed his name in game. I'm looking at their roster, and I think they changed up their names. Somebody's got to help me out because Ryan just put on a show for us. I want to give him credit. Oh, it is Royal Canadian Air Force.
Air Force
RCAF.
Just different. Air Force
Holy
just
cow.
different.
Thank you, production. I appreciate that. Shout out to Ryan, man. Royal Canadian Air Force are screaming at home because you just put on a show. Winning a 1v1 against a very good player. Grand Poobah has won tournaments. I've casted over him 1,000 times. Crazy stuff. Let's look back on the highlights.
This was fun. Everyone was asking where Aiden was. Well, Mills found him, and
Crazy.
Mills sent him packing.
Yeah, some fun fights on the outside of the zone. We talked a lot about hot drops in the break there between games. Obviously, a ton of action in Quarry, but the fights on the outside of the zone working their way in do really set the tone for what teams will come in with this nice advantage. Also on the leaderboard, of course, Huskers, and this is really what makes a great player. You see it from Apollo, you see it from Teep, being able to do something with, frankly, a really tough position. Apollo and Teep should not have won this. Yes, they had an advantage of holding this position, but because that team swung in, they lined them up, they set up the perfect trap. The 2 beat the 3, but some fun highlights across the board.
That wasn't the only time they made that happen. Now, Zyro, they understood that with the circle closing, they had to lay siege to the U.S. Coast Guard's building, that Jowo had done a really good job of just saying, nah, this is my home, I'm defending this space, you're not coming anywhere near me, and it gave them a lot of space to take down everyone around them. Now, you mentioned Ryan, and in particular, there was a couple integral fights that he had to take to get to this space, whittling down those numbers of the U.S. Coast Guard to put it into that 1v1 at the end.
Yeah, a huge, huge win, and I can only imagine stood up and started screaming because that's a fight that, frankly, he shouldn't have won. Grand Poobah wasn't missing necessarily. Ryan just was able to spin, take the shots, and likely hit a few headshots for him to win that gunfight through the smoke when he's getting tagged first. Kind of a crazy feat. Shout out to Ryan.
That was just, it was heart-wrenching, to be honest with you. That was so sad. I really thought that Coast Guard were making their comeback here, but I will say, Ryan, buddy, that was insane. The ice that you have to pull off something like that was absolutely incredible. Coast Guard, though, it's sad that they almost can't see that they're the last two kind of put-together teams because they could have really worked together in tandem there, but it's very difficult to know that. You have to basically get your reticle on somebody to understand who they are, what they're trying to do, and again, you can't communicate either. So what are you going to do? Gun them down or be gunned down first? I mean, that's the biggest question, but so close.
It was so close. What I don't know is the comms on the other side.
Right.
Did Coast Guard recognize that they had the 2 power positions? They were separated in the 2 separate buildings. They just couldn't quite execute on it. I think they did because we saw the fight actually happen with Jowo. Of course, he owned the building by himself and then with his team. And on the opposite building that was layer kicked, as Breadman got wiped, Jowo's team was ready and waiting and was able to play the trades basically for their other trio.
I will also say, though, just looking at what happened at the end game there, what you didn't want if you were Coast Guards was for the Air Force to win, right? That is what you didn't want to happen, okay? We'll take the Canadian Air Force any day there in that situation in terms of the leaderboard. However, I will say that the Coast Guards, they were getting some kills from both sides. I mean, early game, we're seeing Breadman constantly early game getting all of the kills necessary. And as you can see, map 3, Coast Guard Gaming, they will take that top spot, and that's because their multiplier was better in terms of their totals here, because they were just getting kill upon kill upon kill. That aggression is certainly paying off, Tiff.
It really is, and honestly, if you're going to share the load of that force, you've got 15 from Alpha, 16.5 for Bravo. It's not very similar to what we see for Air Force, right? 16.5 and then a 3-point game from their Bravo. So I'll take a 19.5 any day of the week, but that 31 is massive for the Coast Guard.
Yeah, here's the other thing to remember. I am actually going to correct us all.
Yes,
It was Ryan with Westy, and it was British Army that actually get the win. So that's why you see them in third overall. It was the winning team that got 12 points. So they had 6 kills, but they won, which is a 2x multiplier. So a nice win for them. Ryan playing with Alp and Westy. They were actually the ones playing the roof when we said, hey, they're in the best position. And then we left them, and I totally forgot about them. And then they win with Ryan as a solo. Very cool stuff.
Into it.
And there is the overall standings. And as you can see, Air Force Gaming, they really have started to push themselves up here. And the ceiling right now is getting awfully high. Just being in that late game for them is everything. If they can get there, make sure they have the kills on board, that multiplier is just going into their favor, regardless of whether they are winning the entirety of that map at that time. Royal Air Force Esports right behind them again, though, 57.5. Only a few points, really, that from what we saw in that drop number 2. So Air Force Gaming really pushing the boundary there. And Coast Guard, they did actually go up the rungs here, third. They're looking really, really good. I have a quick question here, Tiff. What do you want to see out of Coast Guard going into this final drop? Because it's now or never.
It really is that. I want to see a full send because you have one more drop left. And for Code Bowl 6, you could not ask for a better story because anywhere from 1st through even 6th place with US Navy Esports being in 6th, I think you have the capabilities of making a win happen. And with only one more opportunity to do that, your back's against the wall. But who better than our service men and women to be the ones to be the holding of the mantle to make that happen?
Well, our Drop 3 winners are the British Army. Oh, we're going to actually interview Coast Guard, who are down there in 3rd place. We got a chance to see what they're thinking going into the last drop. This is our Squad Goals interview presented by USAA.
And welcome in to the USA Squad Goals interview. Coast Guard, who's been on a tear over our past several games, are looking poised, potentially still the championship away for themselves. Of course, Coast Guard, we have Dawes here, been performing well. Dawes, welcome back. You played in Code Bowl 4. Now you're back in Code Bowl 6. How does it feel?
It feels great. I'm just glad to be here. I'm happy that our team's here, and I'm happy for our influencers, our content creators, to be helping us out. It's always an honor being here and just representing the Coast Guard as a whole. I'm just happy. I'm excited.
It's a great event, man, without a doubt. And obviously, you're instrumental in their success. I believe 2nd place and 5th place, respectively, right? 2 teams representing each branch. Talk to me about that last game. You got one more game left, but at least when it comes to this game, how do you feel your branch, Coast Guard, is setting the tone, setting the pace?
I think we're setting it really well. I think we're starting to mesh a little bit on what the game plan is individually at each teams. And I think we're doing good. We got a little strat going on. And as long as we keep fragging and try to get those placement points, I think we'll be all right.
Dawes, but what do you bring to the table, man? You're a powerhouse player. What do you think you bring to Coast Guard?
Man, first and foremost, I think I'm a morale boost. But other than that, I think I could just keep up for the most part. I think I could keep up with the team. Whatever the team needs, I'm there for. Good support.
Well, brother, you already boosted my morale, Dawes. Great to see you. Obviously, good luck. One more game left to bring Coast Guard up into the fold of a championship. Can they do it? What's up to Dawes and his roster? Desk, back to you.
Was our Squad Goals interview presented by USAA. Along with award-winning service, USAA is known for squadding up with the military service members and their families. And Coast Guard really showed out, obviously, in drop number 3. It made sense we got a chance to interview them. They may not have won the map, but it's what we were talking about. They scored the most points. A great interview with Dawes. I know Taylor's known Dawes for a long time, a player that's been around the block for a while, as a lot of our players have.
Yeah, but he was leaking a strat. He's like, I got a little strat. Okay.
I'll continue.
Yeah, tell us more. We need to know. You only have one more chance to get to the top of the leaderboard. We need to see that strat very much front and center.
And I just wonder what it is.
Right?
You know, actually, it's some of the details that he was giving before he even mentioned that was we're kind of catching on to the other teams and how we want to approach them. Now, that's a really interesting thing to say because how do you start to differentiate between the teams on the fly? And again, it comes back to that Warzone versus multiplayer and how the differences really start to come out of the woodworks. You need to have some exceptional Warzone players to be able to pull something off like that, being able to handle teams in certain different ways. Speaking of, something I did want to talk to you guys about and get your analysis on was Huskers. I mean, talk about solo plays. We saw a couple actually happening in that last drop, but having the resources to be able to get away with your life. It's fundamental. It's exactly what you need to do. We saw some picture-perfect solo livability from him. And not only that, having a sniper in your back pocket with an SMG, being able to catch swag off guard at the top of a house on a roof, it was stunning. Unfortunately, they didn't manage to get it done that time, and we find Marine Corps kind of down the leaderboard once again. But that level of experience is just unbelievable. You can really see it in every single move that Huskers make.
If history repeats itself, they had a bad map. That means this next map is about to be a banger for the Marine Corps. They could close the gap. Something we always say about Warzone players is what makes a great player is they can take a really bad situation and make it an okay one. They didn't have a great map, but it wasn't a horrible one either. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do.
Look, maybe we'll do some more manifesting for our match number 4, because we're back with our final hot drop presented by Gillette Antiperspirant. We've got a sneaky one this time, and I'm excited about this one. Lumber. Ooh. Tough to hide, plenty of places that you can make sure you climb, take cover. So, Goj, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Okay.
I need the tips for how to play Lumber.
So lumber's an interesting one. Oftentimes when we talk about lumber, it is a POI that some people say, well, my POI is not working. This is where we're going to go instead, right? This is a regain position for some people, pinning our zones. Of course, on the eastern side, it's kind of Corey's little brother, if you will. Okay. There's still a lot of room to work on the map. There's still a lot of places you can hide. It can still support multiple teams, but it is not as vertical as Corey. And so you do need to get information as fast as possible so you can take down the other teams that are in the POI. And obviously, there's a lot of fights that happen around these pieces of wood. It is lumber, after all.
That's true. And little brothers, they can be menacing. All right, so I want to focus on staying cool. Even when the tension spikes, Gillette Antiperspirant keeps you feeling confident, dry, and fresh. So you can focus on the mission, not the sweat.
Yeah, we are approaching our final drop, and I'm really pumped about this. I'm excited to see what happens, but Lottie, you said it perfectly. This is your last chance. You better step up. You better take the bull by the horns, folks. We're going to head to a very short break here in the booth. When we come back, we'll be back with more Code Bowl 6.
USAA serves the military community and their families with the unrivaled support you've earned. Monster Energy. Grab a co-branded can of Monster Energy. Find the code under the tab and upload to callofduty.monsterenergy.com to earn bonus in-game rewards in Black Ops 7. Experience the world of Call of Duty with Corsair, the official gaming hardware and peripheral partner of Call of Duty and Call of Duty Endowment. Visit Corsair.com for more information. Gillette Antiperspirants proudly supports veterans through the Call of Duty Endowment. Enjoy 72-hour sweat and odor protection. Starting November 8th, Pilot will be partnering with the Endowment for the 7th year in a row. You can round up your change in-store at checkout with 100% of net proceeds going to the Call of Duty Endowment. Through the partnership to date, Pilot and Endowment have helped over 8,000 vets gain meaningful employment. If you head into any Pilot or Flying J location, you can join in on the fight to help get our veterans back to work.
Welcome back to Code Bowl 6, presented by USAA. USAA offers unrivaled support and exceptional service you've earned every step of the way, all driven by our commitment to do what's right for the military community and their families. We are almost ready for our final drops. So I got to turn the eyes to both of you. What do teams need to do differently to win this match? We've been talking about this all day. High risk, high reward versus slow and patient play style. I'm going to be honest. It better be high risk and it better be high reward if you're at the bottom of the leaderboard.
If you're taking any fight off rip, you have to make sure you're winning those. You cannot go out early. You cannot burn that gulag, because the chance for you to get back into the game, let's say only one of your 3 members of the team takes the gulag win. Okay, well now you need cash. You need access to a buy station that's not going to be easy, because it's the last game. Someone's going to be camping it looking for easy pickups.
I've got to say, for me, it has to be a combination of aggressive smarts. It's something that I say in every FPS. I want to see you be incredibly aggressive, but do it in the smartest way possible. Try to look at each situation and take the best route that you possibly can. I think one of those has to be going back to that last drop. Mills in the door. just knowing he's being pushed, he's completely outnumbered, but the confidence and the gunny on that guy to be able to take down 2 like that was absolutely perfect. So if you are going to full send, if you are going to go for it, do it with the utmost confidence, because you never know what could happen, and it really could pay off, like we saw with Mills, because that was an incredible moment.
I totally agree. I've used this analogy before. I haven't done it in a while. It's like a race car, all right? Ooh. You got to put the pedal to the metal on the straightaways, all right? You know that there's only one path you can go. You better max it out. And as you come to the turns, you don't have to throw on the brakes, but you do need to let off the gas a little bit. These players are doing just that. They're playing as fast as humanly possible when they can. When they have to slow down, it's not about slamming the brakes and playing timid. Still playing confident, but let off the gas a little bit, slow your roll a little bit, get your kills, and then move on.
Well, keep that pace of play flying and make sure you get every kill to maximize those multipliers. And as a last reminder for everyone tuning in, USAA is making sure your time watching Code Bowl 6 pays off with Twitch drops. You're going to unlock exclusive in-game items like an animated emblem, spray, weapon charm, and my favorite, the blueprint. Just for watching, keep it running, keep collecting, and know that USAA stands strong with the military community.
Yeah, and Black Ops 7 beta codes are live in the broadcast. You've seen it on the left side of your screen the entire time while we're in game. Grab them while you can and be among the first to jump into the next chapter of Call of Duty.
Well, before our last drop, we have some exciting news from one of the endowment's longest standing supporters, Pilot. To celebrate the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 7 through Veterans Day from November 8th through December 1st, Pilot will generously launch the 6th annual campaign benefiting the endowment. Pilot guests will have the option to round up their change or make donations at the register. Through our partnership to date, we've helped over 8,000 veterans, a brigade size of vets, high quality jobs that they deserve.
Yeah, and this year, our goal is to raise $1 million to get another 1,600 plus vets jobs. Head into any Pilot or Flying J location to learn more and see how you can join the fight with us to help us get our vets back to work. Make sure to download the Pilot app to find the nearest location. And serving those who served is the part of Pilot's Miles of Good mission to make a positive impact in the communities it serves. And they couldn't be happier to team up with the Call of Duty Endowment yet again.
Unbelievable stuff. I got to say, we're doing so many incredible things here in the Call of Duty Endowment and here at Code Bowl 6. And I love to hear all of it. And you guys at home, you really can make a massive difference. You know, I hope you're enjoying all of the action. And if you are, please do go and do that. Download the app. Make sure you do go find out the locations of pilots. And also with Lyft earlier on as well. You know, so many different ways for you guys to get involved at home and to really make a difference here as well. Talking about making a difference, though, it's exactly what a lot of our teams are going to have to do if they want any chance at picking up that Code Bowl 6 trophy, because it really is, like we've said many times, now or never. And this is something, a part of Code Bowl I absolutely adore. This final drop, guys, it is nothing like you've ever seen before. These gunfights are going to be crazy. You think it got really scary in that last drop. You think that first early game got a little bit dicey and risky because we're at Quarry. You haven't seen anything yet, trust me. And especially with Lumber, okay.
Yeah, I'm excited to see maybe Lumber could be our zone. That would be cool. We're going to be on the east side of the map. But let's take a look at the standings going into the final drop. We've been talking a lot about them, and I want to do a little bit of math on broadcast.
Do it.
Okay?
Don't give it to me.
It's something we talk about often. We don't like to do math in the booth. But I want to look at teams like British Army, RCAF, Royal Navy, U.S. Army Esports at the bottom of the leaderboard right now. What do you need to actually try to make a play for first? You need the biggest game of the day, unfortunately. That's the math. Is a 35-point game, roughly, is our biggest game. That's kind of the metric for, hey, you had the best game of the day. If you put 35 points on any of those scores, you're not in first with Air Force scoring 0 between two trios. You need a miracle if you're in the bottom half of our leaderboard. The top half, though, well within striking distance. You throw 35 points on any of those, boom, you're up ahead by 10 plus points. It's going to come down to this last map.
I think this is my next question we're here, Tiff, is, you know, when you are those kind of 7th through 10th place here and you're looking for that massive, crazy Cinderella moment game, you know, what are you looking at doing early on in the game? Because I think with Warzone, it can be really hard. If you just don't have the cards falling into place for you, what are you supposed to do? If you don't have the resources, you don't get things that other people have because they guessed correctly early on in the game, how do you then go about it? So, you know, what can they do early on to really seal the deal for them to have the best chance possible here?
There is a reason why the last match of any series will always be my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have the capabilities of putting up a monstrous 40 to 50 point game in the last, okay, so maybe the first isn't on the cards for you. But what is, you're going to do anything and everything to try and get there anyways, because you're not going to give up. We don't do that here at the Code Bowl 6. We do not give up. So that can oftentimes chalk the pace of play for other teams that are in the running to take a top spot on the leaderboard. So if you're Air Force and everyone knows that you are sitting there in the 1 and 2 position, making sure that you've got a chokehold on the leaderboard, someone like Space Force, who's in the top 5, needs about a 25-point game with the Air Force getting 0, right?
Yeah.
They have a real powerhouse chance of getting into that, but they also have to push that pace of the lobby and chow everyone.
The thing these teams, and we've got to remember at home, we can see everything, right? We can do all the math, we can see all the teams. They can't. They don't know who is on the map at any given time.
True.
If you are the Marine Corps, for instance, you dropped a 4-point game and then a 35-point game and then another like 10-ish point game. That's between 2 trios. They can drop another 35-point game. They desperately need some of the teams at the top, the Air Force squads, to drop a 4 or 5-point game. It is not without question that we could have 2 trios drop early from the same roster, and this leaderboard could be blown wide open.
Now, something we actually haven't talked about yet, and I want to pick your brain on, is another factor that I think really does come into whether or not you have a great game or not. And that's communication. When you're getting pushed by however many teams surrounding you, and you are in a great position, you're always going to be the ones that they want to take down to take that advantage from you. How important is communication as a team and working together to understand who you've got around you? How many people do you need to keep an eye on? And being able to also have clear comms and stay calm and not let it get too much.
It's the most important thing out there. Of course, a gunny, close second, right? Making sure you've got the aim, because if you can communicate, hey, shoot him out there just across the way, well, if you don't have the gunny, you can't back it up. But that is something that I've noticed that our service members are exceptional at. That has been honed into them since the very start of their service. So, of course, when it comes to communicating, they're going to have 0 issues. What I am curious about is how that creator slots into their team and how they're going to navigate around that communication.
I like you said it that way. It's communication first, and then close behind is a gunny.
Of course.
In Warzone, we kind of joke that everybody can shoot straight, especially at a competitive level. Even in this competitive level, where some of these players only compete once a year, everybody can shoot mostly straight.
Mostly.
Across the board. Communication, chemistry is what sets these teams apart. I always say it's the 3 C's. It's communication, it's chemistry, and then it's cash. You got to get your money up. And in Mini Royale, that is even more important. This mini trios format, we're seeing a lot of teams really struggle with their resources. Chemistry and communication will help with that, but you've got to get your cash up. Cash is absolutely at the top of everybody's priority list.
100%. I think that's also why, you know, we're looking at some of the creators kind of step up and fit in or slot into that role and have good communication that works well with our service members. I think Huskers produces exactly what you want there as a creator. I think, you know, he's played the game so much. It is his second home pretty much, if not his first. And I've got to say, in terms of IGLing, that's somebody who you want to be able to listen to. Whether or not he's the IGL for his team is a whole other thing. We won't know that until we go and ask him ourselves.
True.
But I think he brings a level of communication to his teammates that they feed into and that they're able to kind of take on board. It's a fundamental skill to have, and I think Huskers has it.
Yeah, and I'd love to go ahead and run it back to something you said earlier about Huskers in particular when he's kind of going on that solo rampage, right? Sniper in the back pocket. Something that he's doing is putting pressure on a team to the left, immediately dives towards the right. You got Space Force up ahead of you, and what do? You pull out your resource, your heartbeat, you've got it. But not only that, Swag was trying to do a most wanted contract as a solo to get his teammates back into it, because something that Goj had said is the ability to get your teammates to the end as a team of 3. It's difficult. The buy stations are formidable, right? They're not going to be the easiest thing to get to. Getting the cash up is not going to be the most difficult thing. Yeah, sure, Huskers had 10K at that point in time, but the buy station was more tough. For Swag, he's like, nah, I'm grabbing a most wanted. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to loot up. I'm going to try to get this timer down as quickly as possible, but it puts that big beacon up of everyone looking to send you. But I don't know why he went to the roof.
Yeah, that was
a little open.
A little bit like a sitting duck there, if not standing.
Slightly.
Yeah.
The guy needed information. I just needed to get some little info. I mean, no, I agree. It was a brutal spot.
Swag all day. I mean,
he's going to show up on stage.
Then it's the roof. I mean,
it'll be a real interview.
You know, I'm also very curious about how you handle the early game versus the late game, especially when risking it. And obviously the difference now with the first 3 drops and the last drop, so many different differences here. And I'm just literally going to pick your brain on it, because Do you risk it really early on in this last drop? Because I've seen so many crazy gunfights, but with teams that have been brought back as well. So how do you kind of differentiate the two, and how risky do you want to make this early game in this final one?
I think it depends on where you're on the leaderboard. I'm looking at Coast Guard, for instance, is doing a very good job of prioritizing the end game. Maybe a hair too much in the first round, but they've found their groove. I don't know if that's their secret strat. Maybe their secret strat is they know each other's team. Maybe their secret strat is that they're playing for end game and the kills will come. Regardless of the way you look at it, Coast Guard found themselves in the end game on both sides of the zone in that last map. You've got to remember that they set up in both sides of the building, and it worked out really well for them. They didn't get the win, but they were the top team, and that's something if they can execute on it again, just play for the win, play for the late game, kills will come, Coast Guard could be on top.
Is that the strat? Is that the strat? We got the interview from Dawes, and he was talking about not only being a morale booster for the team, which is huge, right? Because you have a bad game in a game of 4, having the morale booster to bring it back and run it down the leaderboard as you're chasing that beautiful trophy we saw just a few moments ago, to claim that for your military branch, hoist it at the end of this amongst all of your service member peers. I mean, at the end of the day, we're here for a good cause, but we're here to claim victory.
Well, I'm sure you all can spot it at home. We are loading into this game, the pregame lobby. Everybody staying warm. There's a Legion on your screen. Middle of the pack, a lot of work to do, but the question remains, who will come out on top? The last strap of the main part of our competition here, a chance for Coast Guard, Royal Air Force, any of our military service branches to win this coveted trophy. The last drop of the day for the main part of our competition, folks. I know we're excited about this one, and it looks like we've got the script. Holy cow, we are headed to Lumber. What a way to finish this thing off. Lumber can support a lot, but it can't support everything. Where will everybody else go? They're gonna go to the farmlands. Our zone will stretch not quite to prison, but close. It'll encompass all of farmlands, or at least some of it, and then move us into Lumber to end out this competition. So we will start with people dropping in farmland and trying to find one small little farmhouse just for them, their family, and we'll see whoever else.
Well, we've got a hot drop. We talked about it. Thanks, Gillette. Sophie hits the ground. You can see Icy there looks to play off the high ground. A little do-si-do with Aiden. Fresh off a win, a formidable foe. Actual and Stars kind of running it back,
oh my
right?
Goodness.
And they just completely make light work. Look, it's the frenzy of the final game, Goj. I was telling you, this is why it is my favorite.
Look, Aiden and U.S. Army's in last. I mean, they got to swing for the fences. Why not?
Yep.
And so a great start for them. Tripod Kurt picking up a couple in main as well. Again, we do have gulags. If you see a team wipe, they're not out of this map necessarily. They certainly can regain. And I'm excited to see what these teams are able to do. Again, this is the last drop of our main part of our competition. We still do have a solo YOLO after this. That golden headset all brought to you by Corsair. So we'll get there here in a little bit. But for now, the last drop, a chance to be at the top of the leaderboard, a chance to take home that trophy. Some of these teams got to move fast. The others going to play nice and slow for the end game.
Well, for FIFA, Whoopty and Harry, representing the Royal Air Force here, they're on the hunt for Tripod Kurt. Dolphin Dive's not going to keep you safe here. Now, something to note is that they're not the only team here in Lumber. You see Sean J, Tones, and Isaac just ahead. And by taking down Tripod Kurt, it's going to alert them that they're not the only teams over here. And with that gas at their backs, they're going to have to rotate straight into them. But Ryan, who clutched a 1v1 at the end of match number 3, just took down FIFA.
Hey, look, British Army, again, they're pretty low on the leaderboard. Like, they won that last map in terms of getting first. Only got 12 points from it, but still, we take those points. If they can run it back, who knows what could happen. A lot up in the air, a lot of what ifs, but at the end of the day, hypotheses are one thing. We've got to get to conclusions. We will be there shortly. It's Mini Royale. We are moving quick. And the folks that landed in farmland have a long way to go. We're opening things up here. Again, Tones, Isaac C.O.D.E. We've been watching them a lot on the side of Sean J Gaming. This is a team that started off very strong and frankly have been an insanely consistent squad. Been really excited about Air Force across the board, whether it's the solo of Iceman Isaac trying to stay alive or this trio making it to final circle as well. A team that can absolutely win this whole competition right here, right now, if they just have a decent game.
All right, well, Whoopty, I saw him pick up a few as FIFA was constantly getting knocked, and In terms of resources, looking decent, right? We've got plates, and Harry over there's got a gas mask, and he's starting to kind of hit this wide wrap on the outskirts, which, as long as you're keeping an eye of what's going on behind you and where the U.S. Coast Guard is.
Also, by the way, very quickly, British Army just wiped each other, so I don't think they got the memo. They got to work together, unfortunately.
That's a little painful.
Westy and Mini Central fighting each other early, but here's a quick look. FIFA kills spots Red, one lot closer, and the second Spin-A-Man tries to get into the entry fragger, and unfortunately hardly lands a bullet. FIFA Kill is lining him up. FIFA Kill will not falter. Finally gets the trade out. Dawes with Breadman take down FIFA Kill, and FIFA Kill's teammates just couldn't catch up fast enough because they were still flying in from an early loss.
Dare I say an interview buff there, but I do see Gel Dog and Gibbo down there in the house, and they've got the sniper glint lighting up straight towards the U.S. Coast Guard. So if I'm Breadman frolicking over here on the rocks, I want to reunite with my team and focus forward because it's feeling a little dangerous out here, but at least you've got 3 kills as... Don't do it. Okay, maybe try again. I think you got it this time. Okay.
We talk about caster curses. That is the first caster taunt I've had on main in a long time, Tiff. I love it. Breadman, though, just going to throw bullets down range wherever he can. Sometimes they connect, especially inside of Breadman. But another 1v1. If you don't have to get a chance to see these, it is FIFA Kill versus Downey on the other side. And that bounced oddly, but did not connect, which is good news if you're a Downey fan. FIFA Kill getting first blood. We know that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win the gunfight. Slowly but surely and into overtime means we could go for the cap in the middle. Both players know it. A game of chicken is at hand. 5 seconds. We got to move very quickly. Running out of daylight. Somebody's got to make the move. Downey does first, but he doesn't get the kill. They're not going to get out of this. Both are likely going to leave. There they go. Both will not make it out of the gulag. Sometimes in the game of chicken, no one moves. The chicken may not get run over, but it never crosses the street.
That's fine. Whoopty's got 5 kills. I'm still feeling really good about the Royal Air Force. Now, Harry and Whoopty will work together, which no strangers to doing so. And they've got a nice little segment here at the edge of Lumber. Of course, you see Sean J Gaming tones across the way, and another team, Z-Laner, outplayed in aces, kind of locked down in the main building.
It's a big take there. We saw Royal Air Force actually, the other Royal Air Force, Icy, getting wiped. I'm not sure if they're full out. It certainly could be possible. It could come down to that FIFA Kill squad, who is in trouble, by the way. Whoopty in deep trouble. Reminder, it was a duo, but we got a fight on hand, and all of a sudden, this is utter chaos. Hale finds one and almost finds all 3, but Teep comes in to save the day. Swag is here for the trades, though. Revengeful, not around. Hale, not around. It is Swag versus Teep. And patience, oftentimes a virtue in Warzone. Swag could get the first shots. Teep knows he's nearby. Another game of chicken. This one, we will not run out of time on.
My only thing is someone else is going to play spoiler to this. Swag with some opening shots, and Teep kind of tries to bait on out, but he's not going to leave the cover. We're okay here. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Harry, FIFA, and co. on the other side of things could play spoiler to this, but they're not going to rotate out into open terrain to make this happen.
Yeah, it looks like it on the minimap. Oh, you can come up and get these kills. They're going to stay right where they are, and also, frankly, shout out to them for being able to restabilize, right? We saw FIFA not make it out. Teammates losing 1, but they were able to stay alive and now have somehow restabilized. I will say, reminder that FIFA Kill's team likely pretty low on resources. I don't think they've had a great chance to loot at the bottom side of this mountain, but we will stick to this fight for now. Swag has put on a show for us in the past. We'll see if he can do it against a world champion. He does get first blood, hitting a little bit of shields rather, not flash yet. Fully restabilized it. Oh, a wild challenge in somehow, some way. Teep finally gets the kill, but you were right. Somebody plays spoiler. It's Huskers, 3 goats, 3 OGs, but Huskers stands tall, quite literally on top of the mountain with Zach OG. I told you to watch out for the Marines. Holy cow. They've got a banger on their hands. 8 kills just from Huskers. What a roller coaster for this Marine Corps squad.
Plenty of cash to get their third back in as well, but a dynamic duo indeed for Isaac, Tones, Sean J. Near the top of the leaderboard, feeling confident. They don't really have to push the pressure on themselves to make up a ton of ground on that leaderboard because they are near the top. For FIFA Kill Harry, one other part of that as well. I would love to see them get their full team of resources stockpiled, but I also need some kills on this squad.
Yeah, the question is Iceman Isaac still alive? Do we have two Air Force trios still up? Oh my goodness. That is going to be a full wipe. We are down to 8 total teams. We lose one half at least of the Coast Guard. Jowo's side of the Coast Guard trios are out of this map. And right now, I'm not seeing Breadman. This could spell disaster for Coast Guard. We'll get 100% confirmation of that here shortly. The Marine Corps looking strong. I don't think the other trio of the Marine Corps is still on this map. I do see Spin-A-Man still on the map, so not all disaster for the other side of Coast Guard.
I like the patience out of Zach here. They're really good at putting themselves in situations where they have the high ground. They can play these angles. But even on this chance, they have to start playing forward, which is exactly what Huskers is doing for the duo. He's kind of planting the seeds of where they need to rotate to and solidifying that for them. Tones, though, someone's in the bathroom?
Hello, welcome to the party, Harry 2K. Unfortunately, FIFA Kill and his squad is out of this map on the back of Tones. A great take and a great win. We do see Breadman getting cut down. I thought I saw Spin-A-Man. Should still be on the map. Coast Guard, not full disaster. But I've got my eyes on squad 16. That's going to be the Royal Canadian Air Force Z-laner. They're in a very strong position inside of zone, in a power position. One of the biggest pieces of cover. But Tones has found an angle on 2 members of the British Army who are trying to rotate out. And unfortunately, he does not get the kills. Royal Canadian Air Force picked him up from distance.
Yeah, Aces there goes massive and says, thank you, Tones. I'm going to send you a nice little letter at the end of this because you did the large majority of the damage. And even with that smoke being down, the fact that we get across for a rotation, we're just not done, though. We still have to get over into that building where squad 16 is, and you still have Zach the OG that's been anchoring for Huskers on that high ground who's looking for kills. Yeah,
we're looking for some multipliers here, certainly from some solos. I think maybe he was going for the revive on Sean J Gaming. I can't imagine he will get there, but Pondy hanging out, looking for an opportunity to make a huge play. It almost does. Actually does on the off angle. Pondy played a little bit of the bait, and Zyro cleans him up. What a change of pace. Talk about a momentum shift as the Royal Canadian Air Force lose out on several of their players in just a mistimed chow.
Into the top 5 here for the Royal Navy. Zyro looking to get a res onto Pondy, and the fact that we don't have people pushing this is significant.
Into the top 5, Aces somehow, some way, now a solo. A perfect execution from Zyro and Pondy. That is the Royal Navy making waves in our last map. With only 5 teams on the map, my eyes turn to, of course, the Marines. Zach the OG and Huskers. Spin-A-Man for Coast Guard, last alive for his roster. He's been a solo for a while, and he's actually found an angle on one member of that Zyro roster.
Orbs down, and Zyro wants to clear out Spin-A-Man if he can and does a ton of damage, but Aces, another solo, will keep the pressure onto this duo and not let them have it. Can we get Orbs on up and reunite with the trio Pondy?
That is gigantic for the Royal Navy. Having all 3 alive, they've got the player advantage we want. We're down to a total of 3 teams. We lose Tones. It's going to be Aces as a solo, this trio, and then the 2 members of the Marine Corps. Yes, a player advantage on the side of this trio, but the Marine Corps in the best position by a mile. This solo and this trio have to climb up the mountain straight towards the Marine Corps. We're going to be looking down from the other side of this building. Zach the OG playing the off angle on the backside, Huskers up on top.
Well, the Royal Navy has information in their hands. You saw a UAV get popped. The only thing is they don't have high ground. Huskers does, and he's looking for double digits. It's a 2v1v3, and Zach and Huskers, they have so free reign of this endgame.
If the Marine Corps want to win Code Bowl 6, they need to get the 2x multiplier. They have so many kills. Winning this map could be everything for the Marine Corps. Huskers playing entry fragger from up on high. I don't think anybody knows where Zach the OG is. He could play spoiler. He could be the hero.
Talked about retiring last year, ran it back for C.O.D.E. Bowl 6, and honestly, to go out on top would be the best way to do it alongside the family at home supporting. And Huskers grabs double digits. Zach just anchoring from the back fence line, puts the damage onto Zyro. Where is Pondy?
What a huge fight. We still have that solo lurking down below. It's actually in the second level. That's Aces. Still alive for his roster. Pondy and Zyro on the bottom side. Talk about a layer cake. We do lose Zach the OG. The solo finds an angle. Zach just thought it was a duel on the other side down below. A missed opportunity, and Huskers gonna have to be a hero.
This is difficult because Pondy on 5 could go big for the Royal Navy. There comes the full, a 1v1v2. The question is, who moves first?
High ground an advantage in every time besides maybe right now. Huskers does have a gas mask. He can play high ground for a while if he wants to. They know he's up here. He found an angle. Huskers able to find Aces! Royal Canadian Air Force spin, turn, and burn. They take down the Marine Corps, but it is Pondy who gets the victory. The Royal Navy, from the bottom ropes, end up winning that map in a crazy turn of fashion. Royal Navy on top. But in terms of our scores, I have no idea.
Coast Guard down and out early. Air Force ran into some trouble, and then you saw FIFA Kill and Co. They were constantly in the mix of things, but if you're going to go out, you go out with your backs against the wall, guys, like we were talking about. When you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, the only way to go is up.
Wow, what a finish. And a photo finish like that oftentimes needs a lot of review behind the scenes. We know who won the map, but the scores will land as they may. I don't know where the Marine Corps falls. Coast Guard was able to stay alive for a while. I don't know that the Royal Navy was really in contention to make huge waves, but they could have played spoiler to a military service branch that maybe was going to get the victory, and they may not now.
Oh, there we go. We're back. They certainly could have. I mean, personally, I am so shocked still that Huskers died there. I mean, he had a full gas mask. He was in a great position. Aces, though, with that just absolutely stunning shot from the height disadvantage. I mean, my goodness. I'm replaying that over and over in my head, but talking about replays, we do have this final drop-in replaying in highlights overall. I mean, what a strange game that we saw. A complete topsy-turvy of things, other than the Marine Corps, who unfortunately just didn't get that done for the two-time multiplier.
No, they really didn't, but I told you guys, this is why the last game of the series is my absolute favorite. And as we see these USAA highlights and final fights, I think it's important here because you do have Spin-A-Man from the U.S. Coast Guard on the inside, keeping that pressure onto Zyro and Co. But you have Pondy holding the cross out to the left, but the duo working together on the right. It's no men left behind. Zyro's like, I'm sticking it out. I'm getting my team up.
If Spin-A-Man got one more bullet and got a full, I think Huskers might win this, or actually, frankly, probably Aces after this crazy moment. Here's a look at it. It was Pondy down below, actually tagging up Huskers as he looked down. Huskers saw an enemy and was going for the shots, and I was like, no way Huskers loses that. He was getting double teamed by two different teams. Huskers loses a 1v2 to two different squads.
Little does he know it was a team kill, but just two completely different ones. Unfortunate series of events there for Huskers, because I was looking at that gas mask thinking, okay, you can do this. This is going to be really interesting. Marine Corps, they finally might be getting a C.O.D.E. Bowl 6 win. They still could. Who knows? I don't know how the math kind of shakes out here.
Yeah.
The big question is, who got the most kills on that map? That's what I want to know. I really, really do want to understand who really took the most risks, who managed to get the conversions across the board, because as we've seen in one of our other drops, you might win and you might get that two-time multiplier, but it doesn't mean you actually take all of the points away from that round, because it's all about how many elims you get, and it's really important. So I don't know, do you think Marine Corps got enough?
I wanted to actually go to Tiff, because this is something we talk about all the time. It's like, we saw Huskers had a crazy kill total. I think he had double digits at the end.
Yeah.
What did Zach the OG have? What did their full team have? Like, I don't know the kill tallies. When you see an individual with double digits, usually they're the ones picking up the kills. The other two teammates have a lot of damage in the assists, but not always. We could have seen the biggest game of the day, even though they didn't get a win. You don't know.
That happens so many times in Warzone, and being in the top 10 alone gets you that 1.5x multi. So sure, it wasn't the 2x,
right,
but when is that last game of the series, you need to go for broke. You need that 2x. But guys, don't forget, right after Code Bowl 6, the action is still continuing on with the Solo YOLO Challenge presented by Corsair. Watch as players go head-to-head in a high-stakes battle for glory. It's every person for themselves. Stick around, you won't wait to miss who takes home the golden headset.
And of course, a reminder that this year, Monster Energy has returned as a partner of Code Bowl 6. And to celebrate, we are bringing back the Monster Energy Most Valuable Player MVP Award. The award will be decided by the Code Bowl 6 broadcast team and will be given to honor the standout performance of a military team member who exhibited a relentless pursuit of victory and, of course, unleashed the beast on the competition. It is almost time to crown this year's winner. And I'm very curious to see who will win the MVP here of the Monster Energy, because this ring is everything. It's going to weigh your hand down, but it's worth it, let me tell you. A couple of contenders coming to mind here, but of course, so many that have been doing the absolute most. Yeah. I mean, Goj, you know, who's like springing to mind when you're thinking about who might actually take away this?
So it really comes down to the scores. I think oftentimes when you think about most valuable players, we're talking about our military service members. You're talking about people that made a huge difference for their teams. It didn't mean they had to top frag. It is the most valuable player for their roster. I'm thinking about Zach the OG.
Yeah,
If the Marine Corps win. If not, obviously Aces, Royal Canadian Air Force, they were in the contention. Royal Canadian Air Force could have won this competition. It is possible. They would have needed a crazy big game, but it was definitely possible. So I have no idea. Aces had a huge moment there, but it could literally, it's anybody's game.
What about Whoopty?
Yeah?
How many times do we go over to him and he's got a 5er? Like, he literally is always on 5, and I think it's interesting.
Yeah, look, when we talk about most valuable player, I was saying this before, and I want to emphasize it, it's not just kills. If we looked at damage, we look at assists, we look at role player moments, we look at buybacks, like all of those things go into this conversation, and I know the broadcast team is working hard to figure out who that could be.
Yeah.
So, Lottie, I'm going to be honest, usually I know for a fact.
But you just don't know.
This one, I have absolutely no idea.
I mean, what does that tell you about the competition that we've seen today across all 4 of these drops? I mean, the competition has been unmatched. Every single drop has been completely different. In terms of storylines, we've seen, you know, a real massive push and a huge leg up from Air Force. It was just unbelievable, and quite frankly, love was in the air pretty much throughout all of the drops that we saw today. And then we had Marine Corps just chipping away and managing to get that incredible push forward from Huskers. We saw comfortability coming through the roof for them. But who's really been that kind of like, you know, contender in the wings, just waiting there to see what would happen, what would they be able to do and work out as the drops continued on?
Yeah, I mean, Coast Guard, frankly, I think Spinaman did a great job of staying alive to the top 5. That's great for his team. I don't know how many kills they picked up. We saw them in the kill feed a little bit, but not as much as we would like if they were going to win that map, kind of not being in the final fight. Again, almost played spoiler to that team that got the win at the end of the day, almost picked up that full. But yeah, I think Coast Guard was kind of waiting in the wings. I think it's funny when you start doing a little bit of math too, because Huskers had 10 kills by himself.
Yeah.
They got a 1.5.
Crazy.
That's 15 points just from Huskers.
Yeah.
But if they would have gotten the win, that would have been 20 points just from Huskers. When we're talking about razor thin margins, 5 points is a lot.
It's a lot.
And I said it during the cast, and I'll say it again. I think the Marine Corps needed to win in order to secure the overall victory. But again, I have no info. I have no intel.
No.
It's just my assumption right now. We'll see.
I know, it's going to be very interesting. And also with Air Force as well. Talk to me a little bit about their last map and what went wrong. Why couldn't they finish as strong as they started?
Things are difficult, right? And I think it leads to the mini Royale combat. I mean, we went into military base, we went to quarry, now we're going into lumber for our final match. We talked about how difficult it can be to navigate throughout that. So trying to take some of those landings and say, okay, well, I'm Air Force Gaming, right? I want to remain at the top, or I want to best the Royal Air Force. So knowing that you're separated by those razor thin margins, you have to not only play incredibly smart and conservative, but you also have to find those kills to stay at the top when everyone's gunning for you. So I think they kind of struggle with shaking up their pacing in that final match.
It's not... I keep saying this. It's not without question they could have won, though.
Right.
I mean,
True,
Sean Jay's team, I think that was the only trio. I'm not sure what happened to Iceman Isaac. We really didn't see him on main very much. But when you talk about that roster, I mean, technically we saw Sean Jay's side of that roster actually stay alive for a while. I think make top 10.
Yeah.
And pick up several kills along the way as well. So that whole roster was looking really good. They just got caught in the rotation. Like, they were coming from farmland, traveling up into lumber, and it was just too late. It was going to be a difficult road to actually traverse through all of those sight lines. And you get shot from 1,000 different angles running through farmland, and that's exactly what happened. We didn't see that res go on Sean Jay Gaming because there were 6 teams looking right at the building that final player was alive on. So
that is tough, but I will say I do want to commend Sean Jay Gaming consistently making it into those end games. You think back to our 1v1 on match number 3. Sean Jay was right there inside the top 3, just trying to hit a reset in the building. And I think those are also extremely integral in the success and why they found themselves at the top consistently.
Massive shout out to Sean Jay, incredible creator. Absolutely love to see that. Speaking of smart and conservative that you mentioned, what happened to the British Army? Oh my goodness me. What was that about in the last drop?
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. In the final drop of the day, you gotta swing for the fences, right?
True.
And so you just gotta go for broke, and sometimes you get broke. It just is what it is. I don't know what else to tell you.
It is Vegas after all.
That's right. And so in a 4-drop series like this, we still have our solo YOLO. We are not done for the day.
I know.
But in a 4-drop series, consistency is absolutely gonna be the word that I keep going back to. And sometimes when you're near the bottom of the leaderboard, you gotta go for broke, you get broke. And also high risk, high reward. It is the play style that can win you tournaments, especially in a tournament of this format.
Talking a little bit about solo YOLO, and we mentioned Sean Jay Gaming as well, but was there another individual creator-wise that really stood out to you, Goj?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we've been talking a lot about Huskers. I'll continue to tip my hat to him. He's an OG in the space. He's a veteran for good reasons. He's able to put on a show still after years and years and years. So Huskers put up great numbers. I actually really liked what we couldn't see. The intangibles that Breadman brought to that roster. There's a reason Coast Guard was near the top. They've got great skill, but it's on the back of great IGLing from both rosters.
Jobo, too.
Yeah, Jobo's great IGL as well. But Breadman is very, very good about in-game circles. They were setting up their team very well to play for in-game.
I saw a lot of Breadman in the kill feed all the time, and consistently in the early game as well. He was really just getting into the mix early on and trying to get so many numbers for his teammates just to try and get that leg up. It was interesting to see how they evolved as well as the drops went by, because I do feel like Breadman's team with Coast Guard, they got a little bit more conservative and a little bit more smart, which is what you were talking about, Tiff, as it pushed through. And I think that's honestly what has boded very, very well for them and put them into contention. Whether or not it's enough, we'll have to wait and see. I have no idea where this could go, truly, because one, even if it was glaringly obvious, my math skill is not there. And I would still have to look at you guys and be like, so who won?
I would say I have pretty good math skills, okay? I like to do math.
Here we go.
I don't know. I usually know. Usually we're like, oh, we're not sure. Let's confirm.
Yeah.
No, I literally have no idea. Like, no clue. I'm really excited to see how the match shakes up. I want to add one more thing, too, about the creators. Can I shout out Teep?
Yeah.
I mean, guy's a world champion.
I love shouting out Teep, so go on.
Look, we're about to go into solo YOLO here shortly, all brought to you by Corsair. And Teep won last year for good reason. This guy is not technically anymore a Warzone competitor. Some of these players have a big competition coming up down the line, our creators, in a couple days' time for $1 million, right? Teep is not a part of that list. He is a content creator now. He is chilling, he's streaming all the time, but he does play Warzone a lot, and you could tell in this competition, Teep was winning a lot of gunfights against really skilled players.
Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. I often do tune into his streams. He's somebody I love to go and watch personally when it comes to our creators here. And his streams are always, one, incredibly relaxing and chill, considering we're playing like a high-stakes, high-level Warzone. But he's just unbelievable. And I think another thing that I had said previously is the aggressive smarts. He's aggressive, but incredibly smart with it. And I think that comes back to him being a creator, but also used to play professionally. And I think that's what really goes hand in hand. And it's fascinating to now watch him as he goes on to that next part of his journey as a creator, but bringing that professional gameplay into the mix too, which is absolutely incredible. And also could also be a small reason why he might win things like solo YOLOs.
He did last year, right?
Exactly.
If we're going to talk about Teep for the solo YOLO, and while we're kind of just spitballing here, I would love to throw a couple more names in the hat.
Please do it. Here's the hat.
Yeah, you were tossing Breadman out there. I think that was super vital. I think he could do really good for solo YOLO, because a lot of people don't know this. If you're going to be a content creator and not only in the competitive Warzone thing, that man went on like a 100+ win game streak grinding within his community, right? So being able to play and lead multiple randoms that you need in game to succeed. Of course, as you get paired up with a dynamic duo here in the Coast Guard, you're going to have a lot of success, which is why they were poising themselves. But if you rip that teamwork away and it's every man for themselves, I think Bredman is a really good chance to make that happen. And then Goj, we can't miss FIFA kill, right?
Yeah,
He's kind of won a format like this before.
Yeah, he has won before. There's a lot of people that actually have some history in this kind of solo yellow. Before we get there, again, regardless of where these teams landed on the leaderboard, we gotta just say thank you for competing, right? I mean, we had a lot of teams. I mean, come on, we gotta shout out our former champions, U.S. Army.
Yes.
We know they didn't win, okay? It is what it is. They won last year. They had a dominant spree. It was probably the most dominant win we've ever seen, actually, in Code Bowl history. Obviously, a little bit of frustrations this time around, but still, thanks for playing. Obviously, some good moments. Sucre, a great player on that U.S. Army esports roster. Aiden's team just couldn't quite get things going. Not everybody's going to win, but I am getting word, Lottie. I think we've got our overall results finally ready. It took a while because it was pretty dang close, I think, at the top. Let's take a look at it. The Royal Air Force Esports, they have won by only a 3.5-point margin. Holy cow. Royal Air Force are your Code Bowl 6 champions. Holy cow, I cannot believe this. We've got to go down to the stage to present the Code Bowl 6 trophy. Call of Duty Endowment's president and retired Navy captain, Dan Goldenberg.
Today's event brought together military esports teams from branches of the United States, United Kingdom, and Canada to compete for the coveted Call of Duty Endowment Bowl 6 trophy. I'm proud to present this year's trophy to the Code Bowl 6 champions. Congratulations. And to all participants, bravo Zulu. You've done your branches and your countries proud.
Oh, man. Look at you guys. First championship, the Royal Air Force. I think it's time. Let's go ahead and pick this trophy up. If you guys want, embrace it. You guys earned it. Such a big moment. All together, if you like. Lift that trophy high. This is your moment. Incredible job, Whoopty. We'll start with you. Man, what a grind it was. Winning by 3 points, you get Royal Air Force, their first ever championship. How you feeling, brother?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. Gassed. It's my first year as captain, and I said we were going to win, and we won.
So, Captain, so talk to me about your team, man. Putting them together, obviously, it took some brain power. Being the captain, you're a big brain himself. Talk to me about your roster, what it took to get you here in the championship moment.
So we did a week of trials. We had like 20 plus people turn up. We dwindled it down to 4, and then obviously you've got Matty, Harry, Connor. And then part of my decision was just putting the players that had the best chemistry together, and then we went from there. And obviously we got the 2 pros, and we just matched it all up.
And you guys definitely did a big win, a big championship. What does it mean for you personally, though, to win with this roster?
A lot. Means a lot. It's good. Good feeling.
Good feeling indeed. You guys are on top. Is it Connor? Connor, let's go to you, Connor. Again, a big moment, just like Whoop just said, you know, IGL. Tell me about your role, what it took to finally lift this trophy.
I mean, this is the second time I've actually lifted the trophy with the team. Honestly, like, it's just unreal. Like, I mean, even being here, just unreal. Like, experience and everything. Just a great experience.
So, excuse me, second time lifting this trophy. I do apologize. I believe it was Code Bowl 3, if I'm not mistaken, that you ended up stealing it, kind of in the same way you did it this time around. So, champion once again, like you said, it's unreal. What was your journey like going from Code Bowl 3 to Code Bowl 6? So much time in between, but the same result, being a champion.
So, I mean, we cut it close the first time, managed to clutch up the win. Great experience. Second time, unreal. Like, we were cutting it close. We were trying to do the maths on how much points we needed. And yeah, luckily, the points came our way.
And they definitely did. Well done, Sophie, right? Say well done to you. What was it like playing alongside this guy over here who's a big character, but ultimately being on the winning team?
It was incredible. There's some great chemistry, especially amongst like both teams. Great IGL on our team from Connor. It was really fun to be out there, and we had a really nice group of lads where we all just worked together and just played forward and played well.
Yeah, fantastic job. And I've got to go real quick, but FIFA, I can't go without saying something to you, man. How does it feel being a champion?
I mean, obviously, it feels pretty good. Last year, you know, we came so close, second place. We said we'll run it back this year, put the work in. We all went out for dinner last night. You know, we got the chemistry up, put the work in. I mean, captain himself, he's been so passionate, been texting back and forth like all year, ready for it. Obviously, happy to see the boys win because it means a lot to them, so it means a lot to me through that. And it's for a great cause, so happy to be here. Appreciate the invite, and run it back next year.
Run it back next year. Once again, lift this trophy. You all earned it. All right, Lottie, back to you. They've got some celebrating to do.
They certainly do indeed. A huge congratulations to the RAF. Absolutely amazing stuff, and so many incredible things that we can discuss here based on that interview, because finding out a little bit more about this team, how it came together, what they're like with one another, the fact that they also have some accolades under their belt, these RAF lads. I mean, unbelievable things that have been happening. And like you heard from Connor, they were doing the math on the fly. They were really trying to figure out how they were going to make this work and take away that trophy, and that trophy is theirs. Incredible, and a huge congratulations to them. Let's pick apart some of that, because I've got to say, the kind of chemistry, the team morale, it's there. They've been texting all year, FIFA said. I mean, they went to dinner last night, and chemistry is everything, especially when it comes to high-stakes games like this.
Yeah, I was curious, like, what do they have for dinner? Because sometimes if you just have a good dinner, you wake up, you were second place last year. That is a championship dinner right there.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously they have chemistry. I mean, Maddie's been playing with them since they won in Code Bowl 3.
Yeah.
And to see FIFA going back again and again and again, back to the exact same roster to get more reps, there's no wonder they won. I mean, a great job. The word that was ringing in my mind the entire time, yes, chemistry, yes, communication, but it was consistency.
Yes.
We had roller coaster teams. This was not one of those, Lottie.
No, it certainly wasn't. They were consistently really good and up there, just being, you know, great performers with the very best. And I really do think that something that allowed them to squeak away with this win especially was that final drop. And having a couple of them drop the ball, that really meant a lot to the RAF, meaning that they could really elevate themselves back up into that leaderboard. And my goodness me, you can see them right here. Sealed the deal. They are so happy, grinning ear to ear. Second place last year. They did walk away with Code Bowl 3 as well. So Royal Air Force, they're coming out to play. They really can't be messed with. This is starting to become a little bit of an issue, I think, for the other branches.
Yeah, it's a force to be reckoned with, and they were not going to let the U.S. Army go back to back. But it sounds like with that interview, if he was like, "Hey boys, hey Sophie, we running it back next year," because it sounds like that is a dominating team, like you were saying. And it was a blast, even from match number 1. Right? We go to the home of FIFA, prison, and only in game. I just want to say, only in game.
He's not actually in prison.
Right. No,
Okay.
he did have a shed at one point in time that he played from, but it wasn't a prison.
Close.
But it started off with that helicopter, right? And immediately picks up 5 kills. Then they continue on in match number 2. They make it. They play the long game. They grab a ton of kills. I called out Whoopty earlier, and how many kills were on him throughout the duration of our 4 matches. It truly was a picture-perfect, consistent performance.
Yeah, and unfortunately for some of the other teams, a lot of you put it perfectly. It's like they needed to step up in a big way to take down a consistent team. It wasn't like they put up a crazy last map. Royal Air Force weren't in that final fight, and so it didn't matter. It was just the fact that the teams that were trying to chomp at their heels couldn't put up anything. And we saw the map for a second on that leaderboard. I think if the Marine Corps win the map, I think they win overall. Oh my gosh, it was so dang close.
It certainly was. Well, folks, it is time to crown our 3rd ever Monster MVP. A reminder, the award has been decided by the Code Bowl 6 broadcast team and will be given to honor the standout performance of a military team member who exhibited a relentless pursuit of victory and unleashed the beast on the competition. Reflections, let us know who won.
All right, well, it looks like we are ready to announce the winner of Monster Energy MVP, and I'm proud to say our winner is Whoopty from RAF. Whoopty, take your prize, show it off to the camera. A beautiful ring that you get, of course, provided by Monster. Man, show it off the camera, please. They've got to see it, baby, because that's a prized possession. Only one person gets it, and Whoopty, it happened to be you. Yeah, go ahead and shake it, man. Look, check it out. You did a wonderful job. Let's talk about it. What does it feel like to be the Monster MVP?
Feels pretty amazing, to be honest. I didn't even check the leaderboard throughout the games. I just, like I said, just gamed, did our best, and look where it's got us. Feeling good.
I feel like, you know, with you being the IGL, you have to be selfless. And you were selfless, but also slayed out, which is a rare trait. Not typically do you see an IGL who's able to also be the MVP, who slays out the most and does his job. Again, you put together this team, and it's truly miraculous. I just want to give you some time just to talk to your fans, maybe talk to your family. A big moment. Take the stage.
I just want to say, everyone at home, thanks for watching. Well, on Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and yeah. Well, I'm gassed. I can't really talk, to be honest. I'm not gassed.
So, no spoilers, but do you think you return next year? Do we get another Whoop-De performance, another RAF championship?
Oh, well, 1,000%. Definitely. Next year we'll be back. Double again.
Okay. FIFA said run it back. So is FIFA going to be on the roster once again?
Yeah, I hope FIFA's on the roster again. Yeah, me and FIFA all year since last year. Like, we met for the first time last year. I said to him, next year, you know, we're going to run it up. We had a little bit of a roster change because one of the guys left the Air Force. And yeah, we played tournaments throughout the year. I got everyone involved, team meetings and stuff, like on Discord, and then we went out for food on Friday, which was good. Built the chemistry up, and then, yeah, today it's just paid off. 100%.
Well, Whoop-De, I'm so proud of you. I really am. You know, you've done a phenomenal job. Monster MVP, also champion. Congrats again for winning, though, this year's Monster MVP award. Beautifully done, Whoop-De. And you still got solo YOLO to do, mind you. So, hey, take that, play with it, let it give you some new energy. Lottie, back to you at the desk.
Thank you so much, Reflections. Massive congratulations to Whoop-De. And in typical Whoop-De fashion, and yeah, you were correct. Incredibly cracked, taking away our MVP. Unbelievable. So Whoop-De, you called it, Tiff. I mean, he was who was going to be coming up as our MVP here. How are you feeling about just having the absolute brain power, Giga Chad, on the desk / not desk, standing here with us because you knew exactly what was up?
I feel like I just need to start dancing. I mean, I'm not going to. I could hit him with a whoop. There it is.
Oh
there we go.
I'm sorry.
That's incredible.
He's cringing out of his mind.
I'll refrain myself. That's what happens when you become a mom. You get to do little things like that.
I love it.
It was a great call from you, Tiff. I'm going to be honest. It feels good when you're able to call it, and Tiff knows ball. We all know it. Nobody's ever said any different. I want to say Whoop-De was very strong on the map. And Tiff, I think the reason, obviously, you were able to shout that out is from what you saw. I was watching some of the other teams. You spotted Whoop-De's prowess on the map. We heard it, an IGL and slaying out and winning 1v multiple situations. Crazy.
But it's not even just that. If you take a lot of the nuggets from the interview that we got, in particular, it was their development of the chemistry. Let's go ahead and pull up those standings yet again. 75.5 points. It's not like it was a landslide. It was scary. Throughout those 4 games, you had to be on your very best performance, and that goes in with the chemistry, with the dinners, the team meetings throughout the entirety of the year, linking up in Discord, because who knows, those players, they could be from all over the world, right? They're not necessarily sitting next to each other in a boot camp situation coming into this. This could be the first or second time, especially with the roster change.
Indeed, I've got to say, Air Force Gaming, they're going to be kicking themselves here, just trailing behind, but Royal Air Force, they were supreme, and off they go, carrying that C.O.D.E. Bowl 6 trophy with them. Stay tuned, though, folks, for the Solo YOLO presented by Corsair coming up next. We're going to take a quick break, but we have plenty more action coming your way right after this.
USAA serves the military community and their families with the unrivaled support you've earned. Monster Energy. Grab a co-branded can of Monster Energy. Find the code under the tab and upload to callofduty.monsterenergy.com to earn bonus in-game rewards in Black Ops 7. Experience the world of Call of Duty with Corsair, the official gaming hardware and peripheral partner of Call of Duty and Call of Duty Endowment. Visit Corsair.com for more information. Gillette Antiperspirants proudly supports veterans through the Call of Duty Endowment. Enjoy 72-hour sweat and odor protection. Starting November 8th, Pilot will be partnering with the Endowment for the 7th year in a row. You can round up your change in-store at checkout with 100% of net proceeds going to the Call of Duty Endowment. Through the partnership to date, Pilot and Endowment have helped over 8,000 vets gain meaningful employment. If you head into any Pilot or Flying J location, you can join in on the fight to help get our veterans back to work.
Here's the thing about my GOAT, Zach.
Welcome back, folks, and welcome back to Code Bowl 6. This is your last chance. Black Ops 7 beta codes are hitting the broadcast. Make sure you are ready, grab them fast, and we'll see you in the fight.
And as Code Bowl 6 continues, we're excited to highlight Corsair as a key partner. Corsair is proudly presenting the Solo YOLO event, adding even more thrill to the competition. A huge thank you to Corsair for their amazing support. Elevate your game with their top-tier gaming gear, because every click, sound, and move matters.
That's right. Okay, guys, I'm excited because the Solo YOLO is here. In this intense showdown, individual players will drop into Verdansk with just one life. No teammates, no buybacks. It's all about strategy, skill, and survival.
The winner of the Solo YOLO presented by Corsair will serve until next year's event as the best individual player of Code Bowl 6 and have this sweet trophy in their gaming setup as well. Because, of course, who doesn't love gold? Who doesn't love headsets as a gamer? But mix the two. There you go. Thank you very much, Corsair, because that is absolutely gorgeous. Now, before we jump into things quickly, who do you guys think really has a massive shot at taking this whole thing? Because, of course, it's our second Solo YOLO presented by Corsair. Can Teep defend his crown? That is really my biggest question.
That would be insane, honestly, to run it back year after year. That would just go to show how formidable he is. But I kind of talked about it, right? I think Breadman's a really good candidate.
Yeah.
I also think FIFA Kill as well.
Of course.
Maybe we'll get some more Royal Air Force accolades for them. Yeah.
Could Whoopty get MVP and also win the Solo YOLO? I think the answer is yeah, he certainly could. When we talk about Solo YOLO, I like talking about math. I'm sorry. We talk about percentages of people's chances of winning.
Okay.
We have a lot of individual layers of skill. We talk about percentages. We have a total of 60 players. That is a lot of people on this map. However, we are going back to the biggest of maps. We will start with the entire map open that everybody can drop into. It's going to be very slow to start. People are going to be ratting around playing for the final moments. If you talk about 1 in 60 chance, the only real question I have is who has a little bit higher than 1 in 60 chance, right? I think the people you've mentioned that have done it in the past, Teep, Breadman, FIFA Kill, absolutely, they've got a higher than a 1 in 60 chance. But at the end of the day, a 1 in 60 chance versus a 3 in 60 chance, all of that math doesn't matter. You just got to be last alive. It doesn't matter how many tickets you've got in the Hunger Games Bowl. They can pull your name.
May the odds ever be in your favor. Like, it's fine.
Truly, that is exactly what you're going to be thinking dropping into this, because it is a mix, a matchup of the most incredible players and creators, and they just brawled it out pretty much for the last, 5 hours on the sticks. I mean, they are warm, they're feeling themselves, and you mentioned C.O.D.E. I mean, how much can you actually weigh into confidence, feeling yourself? I mean, just picked up MVP and the C.O.D.E. Bowl 6 trophy, so how much do you think that's really going to come into play here?
Is the ring on?
Could be.
Because, I mean, heavy is the hand. That's a lot of responsibility if you're going to be dropping that ring on you. But look, I mean, you're still riding off the momentum from that win. So if any of the Royal Air Force team does make that happen, that's pretty sick. But we can also look elsewhere, right? How close was Zach and Huskers there towards taking, the final win of the game? They're very ebb and flow throughout the entirety of C.O.D.E. Bowl 6. This would be a nice finishing on it.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you talk about the roller coaster, it goes up and goes down. We ended actually on an up for that team, so I don't know if we'll head back down or we'll kind of coast to a finish at the peak. Absolutely Marine Corps. A very wise person once said, scared money don't make money, all right? And so I think at the end of the day, you gotta have confidence.
Okay.
And I'm looking actually at that winner. I'm looking at C.O.D.E. to say, hey, you have so much confidence that it doesn't really matter if you lose this. You've already gotten all your wins, but that confidence can win you gunfights against another solo or another 5 solos that are all staring you down in the final circle.
And we kind of discussed quite a bit different from what we've just witnessed. The mini Royale is completely different kettle of fish compared to what we're dropping into solo YOLO here with the 60 players. It's going to be a brawl, but is it going to be a brawl? Is it going to be risky? Is it going to be fast? Is it going to be a little bit crazy? Or are we going to see a bit of a slow start and then an upward trend into that kind of crazy last circle, a couple of players alive and really trying to risk it all for the biscuit?
So we've had a couple of fun versions of this where we've seen so many different varieties in the end game. And if there's one thing that I know about Verdansk, it's the open end games. So we're going to have a ton of people there at the end, and the moment it centers up over that field, it will feel very much like the cornucopia, a Hunger Games vibe, and who's going to come out on top. Honestly, I don't even know. I don't have any guesses, but I really would like to think that a certain morale booster in Dawes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I'm throwing that one out there. I got a little hunch. Not that I have a script in my back pocket or anything, and someone come find me if he does win, because then that's scary.
That would be, you've already pulled off a great prediction already. If you can go back to back with Dawes, I do think Dawes is a really good option for winning this whole thing. I'm just going to throw a wild card out there.
Okay.
I think Legion could win this.
Oh,
here's my opinion about solo YOLO. It is a lot of randomness and it's a lot of adapting. And funny enough, this is going to feel very different from Mini Royale. You ask about pacing. It is going to be insanely slow to start. We're going to go really, really slow. It's going to feel like a National Geographic episode at the very beginning. People are going to be hanging out. They're going to be walking and scurrying through the bushes. When we get to the end game, likely out in the open, like Tiff's saying, it's going to be utter chaos. We go back to our Mini Royale fundamentals. Resource management. Do we have smokes? I don't know. You better have some resources. If you don't have a gas mask in the final circle, I don't think you're winning.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. If you don't have those resources, you don't have the equipment that you need to carry you forward, again, you are in a pretty difficult position. I do know one thing is that a lot of these players have been in multiple positions. They have been in situations where they really have their back against the wall and they're still able to get out of it. We've seen it a couple of different times where even in the Mini Royale, we've seen players who really should have been gunned down and really taken out of the lobby, but they've managed to pull through, getting double kills, for example, hiding behind a door, etc. There's a lot of things I think you can actually take on board here and expect the unexpected. But like you said, the National Geographic at the start, the slow pace potential, that's absolutely fine. I hear your best David Attenborough impressions when we go into the head. He's like, no, absolutely
Can you
not.
stay out here with us?
Just come in, try-cast it.
Sure.
You can come in and we'll be
There's
like,
Legion. Combat crawling on the floor through the grass. There we go. How's
pretty
that?
good, yeah.
can we get some music alongside that? And then it's
do.
like we're just really
Maybe
setting
the crickets chirping in the background. It'd be absolutely perfect.
The birds.
The birds, exactly.
The horizon.
For me, if I had to put my kind of, every egg in a basket, I have been roasting, not really roasting, but just low-key roasting a player all day, and I'm going to say Swag. You know what? I think it's that time. I need to give him some flowers. I'm going to say Swag, and that's just purely because I got it wrong with the car play. That's really all he had to do. Got very unlucky with the roof. I'll say that, very, very unlucky. So Swag, I think he could be our solo YOLO today. I think he could take it all, but who knows? How do you guys feel about Swag?
I'm okay with it. I think that's a solid position. I mean, how much was their clutch factor just a couple of weeks ago to even make it to that big competition happening in just a couple days' time?
He's playing for $1 million in a couple days because of some really clutch moments. Absolutely, it's a player that can ice up. Speaking of icing up, though, I've been talking about the randomness a little bit with solo YOLO.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit more about the strategic nature of what being a really good IGL will bring to the table. It's the reason we talk about Breadman often. Another very good IGL and can play his life very well. Iceman Isaac, okay?
There you go.
Every time we do solo YOLO competitions and he's competing, I always bring his name up. He is very, very smart. He can play on he can play this game in pretty much any way you could possibly think about it. He plays on controller, he plays keyboard and mouse, he plays solos, he plays trios, he plays competitive, he does content, he does everything under the sun. And every competition, he's always a fantastic IGL for rosters like this with our military service branches. So I think Iceman Isaac can make a play, not just because he's a good friend, but he is very smart at the game.
The Swiss Army knife of Warzone, that's what they like to call him. That's what I like to call him. That's what I have dubbed him. But excited to see that actually come to life as well. I am also excited to see some of our players actually take charge on their own. I think understanding how they would like to play the game, because it does play very different solo-wise. And like we said, obviously in terms of the pacing, it's going to become a lot slower. Do you see that maybe happening in the end game? Do we see some kind of creepers who are lurking in the sidelines, who are not really engaging to try to crawl towards the finish line and really just maintain their equipment, maintain everything that they're building up and they're looting on the way, and basically seal the deal in the final circle?
We're going to see some people get really comfy with the foliage.
Okay.
They're going to be besties with the leaves and the trees. And here's the deal. Let's go back just a few years ago. There was this solo YOLO on Verdansk. The celebration was crazy. A man named Scump won it.
Yes, he did.
Now, the second place player in that event, Aiden, has not been able to get himself a win in a solo YOLO. And anytime you get second, it is one of the biggest losses that you can see. And you think about those moments, right? And then you start kind of mapping out every decision that went into it. Now that we're back on Verdansk, the nostalgia is here. This could be the perfect scenario.
This could be Aiden's time. We actually hadn't mentioned Aiden again until right now, and that's because obviously things were getting a little bit quiet when we were back fighting for that C.O.D.E. Bowl 6 trophy. But back on solo YOLO, do you think this is time where Aiden takes the reins here? He can really push forward and show us what he's got and maybe leave it all out on the Verdansk field?
This could be a chance for him to reverse history. This is a really, reverse the curse of the solo YOLO for Aiden. Again, a player similar, except the opposite side of the coin, similar to a team or a player that just won a lot. Frankly, at the bottom of the leaderboard, they had a really rough day. It's kind of all confidence at this point. That's all you've got left to lean on. So why not just go for broke? Aiden absolutely could put on the burners and maybe pick up a ton of kills while we play for that last spot. I do want to remind people at home, by the way, if you haven't had a chance to watch solo YOLO, kills don't matter. There are no multipliers. Nothing matters at all besides being the last person standing. The truest version of a battle royale. If you are last person standing with 0 kills, but you were what we call in the business the perfect bush Wookiee, then be your bush Wookiee. Hang out in that bush and just chill until the final circle if you want to.
With that in mind, where do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of the drops happening right off the rip coming out of the plane? Because, you know, we've had obviously hot drops today and it has been a completely different, I think, ideology of how you want to play. You want to be going in where it's really hot and it's really risky and getting as many kills off the board as you can. But this time around, it's a little bit different. So where do you anticipate?
You know what we haven't seen all day? Downtown. Why not hide in plain sight? You can use the stairways, you can use the zips, and if you run into an issue, you can get to the roof, you can parachute your way on out of there. Now, you might run into the open arms of some other enemy player, but at least you tried to get away.
Yeah, downtown's not a bad play. Yeah, my brain was kind of going to like the mentality of I want to be able to move anywhere on the map if I can. And so you're not going to look, at least I wouldn't look to the edges of the map. Edges of the map are only good if you go to the edge where the first zone shows you need to go. Otherwise, I actually quite like being near center roughly. Really avoid the big wide open spaces in the north unless we know we're ending there. I would not head to Dam. I would not head to the north side of the map. There are gigantic wide open spaces and there are a lot of players that could shoot at you as you try to rotate. air towards the middle, air towards like stadium, maybe the neighborhoods outside of stadium. That way you could rotate a little bit more effectively if we do move to some of those edges.
Because of course you do want to be inconspicuous, you do want to make sure that you're not getting spotted out too early, you don't want to be taking too many risks right as you drop in, unless you're actually that good with a pistol, then fair play.
Sure.
But if you're not, on the off chance that you're not, you know, I think being able to land somewhere that still allows you to loot up and to be able to grab things that you are going to need, especially early game, because you're going to get caught off guard. There's going to be people dropping in who play this every single day of their life until they literally have to rip themselves off and peel themselves from their monitor and chair to go to bed. So like they're feeling confident, you know, and they have to remember, you don't just go straight back in. This is a one and done. You need to make sure you are playing to your A game. And I'm really excited to see how the different strategies come forward here and who is going to be just playing with absolute confidence and just pushing forward with the gunny, and who is going to be a little bit more reserved and save it for bigger moments, better moments, smarter moments, and see what gunfights they take as well. Is there any players in particular that you know of that tend to kind of trend in that direction, who like to take the smarter gunfights, the smarter gameplay, who really think about the way that they move around the map and how they rotate?
Can I just say all of our service members that are playing here today?
Yeah.
Because they train IRL like every day, day in, day out, but they're also those people that are putting in work and grinding at this game that are, you know, they have to peel themselves away to get into bed to go up and, you know, put in the job work out the next day. But this is the kind of moment where you have to get into that mental game, right? Because sure, the gunny second, like we said, communication is first, but for solo YOLO, it's all about maintaining your mental, because if you do get picked out while the gulag is still there, you still got another 1v1 chance to get back into it. That is your only safety net, and you have to remain resilient.
Yeah, you've got to avoid 1v multiple situations. There's no reason to put yourself into those situations unless you're in the in-game and in the final circle. You're getting a chance to see all of our players making sure their gunny stays warm, because you're right, that chemistry and communication piece does go out the window, which means gunny is right there, right behind, but it is playing smart. I think this time maybe let's put the brakes back into the car and start throwing the brakes on a little bit early game. Don't risk dumb fights that don't actually net you anything. Some fights in the early game do have to be taken to win your POI. That would be a huge, huge boon for you and setting yourself up for success, especially if you're in the final zone or what you expect to be the final zone. I don't know, to get into the minutia a little bit, I think resource management, I said this a moment ago, is everything.
Yeah.
And so we kind of eliminate with Mini Royale the looting period of this game. The loadout comes extremely early. People are low on resources. It's going to be the exact opposite this time around. It is going to be a lot of looting because we got to get our cash up. We got to get our self-revives. We've got to get our gas masks. We've got to get everything. We got to have full plates, all of our ammo that we want, loadout weapons. I mean, I can keep going on, but I think that will be the key, is you got to have good looting to start, which means you do need to go somewhere that has decent loot as well.
Can I be a menace?
You can be the biggest menace.
You might agree with me here on this. You can go the route of Goj over here and be resource management, play for the long game, and then still die and not win anything. But what you could do is throw a wrench in it and just go out guns a-blazing. Take every single fight. You drop in an area that you've looted 1,000 times, that you know where every supply crate is. The ground loot's not half bad right now on Verdansk. So you get an AR that you're comfy with and you say, all right, I'm going out and I'm going to take down every single player. Because how else do you win? Like, maybe you can win with just 1 kill, but I'd like to win with 15.
Yeah, I was going to say, feels bad, man. Otherwise.
It feels bad, man. I will say,
you still win, though.
You do.
You still win, and we've seen this in solo YOLOs in the past. When we move into the solos category, the playlist, things are opening up in terms of what we can use. We could see some people running riot shields again, just like the good old days. I mean, we could see RPGs, and you could see just about anything in solos. Anything goes. So I don't really know what to expect. I think we will see pretty much everything under the sun.
Well, I was going to talk about our operator skin choices, because not only are our weapon choices our strategy, but if you want to be a big purple fuzzy man out there in Verdansk, go for it. But I also do love the Groot skin making a comeback, and that is pretty tough to see. If you want to become one with the foliage like we were talking about becoming a tree, hey, we've seen people do that. We've seen people do that.
Do you know what? I do like your two opposite kind of like looks on how to play this. I mean, I mean, Tiff over here is unleashing the beast, quite literally. And then we've got Goj, you know, Einstein time. That's totally fine by me. And I'm excited because we're going to see pretty much every single strategy that you can think of because of how many players are going to be dropping in here into Verdansk. And it's going to be incredible. It's also really cool to see them keeping their gunnies warm like this because something that is also a little bit different on Warzone that you might find in multiplayer is you don't get a ton of action all the time. The engagements are few and far between at times, especially when you're on your own solo here. So being able to stay warm and not having to get cold a little bit too early on is going to be crucial because one whiff, it's over.
Yeah, some people are staying warm. Others, Jolo, I think, walking across the venue talking trash. That's what I like about. I don't think this is what it's called. I'm colloquially calling this the pit because that's what it feels like. All the players right next to each other, able to talk trash. Look at Joe's in the middle of the screen there, walking around, talking to maybe former teammates, current teammates, or anybody he's wanting to talk trash to. You know? Yeah, hey, the mental game is huge as well. Let's get a little weird. I'd expect to see some people run some snipers potentially. Who knows? I think literally, you know, as much as we want to continue to talk about the minutiae, at the end of the day, last person standing, anything goes. We will see everything under the sun for these 60 players on a gigantic map to work with, and I'm so pumped to see what happens.
I'm ready to see everything go, Goj. I'm ready to see it all. Just leave it all behind. And speaking of, I can see right now on the monitors of our incredible players dropping in for the first time on their own for another year here of Solo YOLO. We'll have to find out who is going to win this, who is taking it home. Will it be back-to-back? Will it be somebody different? Goj, Tiff, shall we get into the action?
Let's do it. Tiff, here we go. Could be slow, could start off hot. I think we'll see everything under the sun, but as our players wrap up the pre-game lobby, Tiff, I'm just so excited to be back with another Solo YOLO. We have done several of these in the past, but this Solo YOLO, all brought to you by Corsair, is going to be a banger. I can assure you that. And as we take a look over the shoulder of some of our players, I think I'm going to eat my words a little bit.
Okay.
I think this is still technically fit inside the Mini Royale playlist. And if that zone, I don't know if people at home can see it, if that zone is real, which I think it is, that is what we call in the business diabolical. Holy cow, we are moving to the edge of the map immediately. These players trying to figure out what the heck to do.
You said expect the unexpected earlier, and I asked for chaos, and we are getting every bit of it. And as our players drop on down, all 60 of them, friends become foes, and FIFA hunts down swag. But honestly, you better be good with a pistol because there's a heli in the air, and we saw people get chopped in match 1, and we are very far out in the open.
BR mini solos, never before seen. I am pumped about this. It's going to start off hot, and we are headed to the north side of the map yet again. Of course, we're here inside the roadside hamlet currently, but military base inside of zone, technically. It's going to be pretty similar to that second map that we saw, which of course we know Marine Corps Gaming did win that map with a ton of points. Huskers, Zach the OG, etc. But on your screen now, we'll continue to watch solos representing themselves. One more quick reminder, though, is my gosh, Sophie.
That was rude, Sophie.
Sophie, that's just mean. Perfectly lined up PA goes through the window and wipes a player, sending a couple folks to the gulag and a couple folks already out of this lobby.
I know, I love that Axis is just lying in here, waiting. But how many clutch moments did we see from Aces? You see him pick up Revengeful Sophie there with the full, getting kind of the nice credit there. Like you said, though, Goj, it doesn't matter how many kills you get, so long as you're the last one standing. You asked for snipers, and also you're getting it.
Yeah, snipers with not a lot of bullets. Again, we're in the very...
No! Aces!
Run! Oh my gosh! Axis, little Omni movement there. Proned out in the corner, upside down. Iceman Isaac for Sean J Gaming in the gulag. This is for their life in the lobby. This is for their life in this Solo YOLO.
Cook it.
We're all watching, we're all waiting. Nothing landing thus far. Ice has taken center of the map and now skating out on the outside. Here's the footsteps. Sean J going for the flag. Barrel stuff. Nobody connecting. Not a single bullet has landed on a body. And there's the first one. Sean J almost wins it. But Iceman Isaac making sure that I don't eat my words too soon. He will get back to the map and try to restabilize as Aiden is on a tear. Again, kills do not matter at all, but Aiden's got 3 of them.
I think he's just moving really quickly out here. Now, mind you, in that loss, it was out there in the open fields. For Sukra, though, he wants to get close and personal. And I think this is a funly game of paintball.
Golly, Sucre, nice pickup on Maz. Gunny's certainly mattering right now. We thought it'd be slow. We thought we'd have David Attenborough. That is not the case. It is nonstop action because we've got a tiny circle to work with. Not only are we on the north side, but this second circle is actually cut in half by the edge of the map. We are as far north as we can go, and Benny Central, this guy's been making guides on this game and this map since the very beginning when it launched 5 years ago. Benny Central knows the spots to hide. That's a great spot. All right, another 1v1 tip.
We'll see if it pays off for him. Elsewhere, Stars immediately makes the charge, covers half the distance, and GetPicks wants to throw a molly and takes off the plates instead. Nice little reposition from Stars, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. Nice try, though, down to 40, and GetPicked gets another chance.
Yeah, nice take. This is a good FIFA kill on the run. Playing the outside of the map. I told you that kills do not matter, and FIFA kill knows that.
Whoop-dee. Out there in the distance.
Yeah, that'd be a wild fight. Everybody airing, or at least several of our players airing towards the edge of the map, because where else would you go? A couple bunkers occupied. I think the question is, what is the best spot? Back to Gulag we go, and Apollo winning that over Grand Poobah. Grand Poobah out of this map. Maybe a small taunt there towards the end of that Gulag.
I saw that stare down.
Hey, look, there's only 36 players left on this map. We are flying through it, and Huskers is getting mixy.
He's played around this spot a lot throughout our 4 matches. We talk about him. He'll be playing with C.O.D.E Community later on this week, and they're very knowledgeable in this area. But Sucre just took down a player here, and he's feeling confident. Huskers, though, as soon as you throw a sniper in his hand, you should be scared. But Sucre's not going to back down.
He's not backing down, but he is playing smart. This is the brakes we were talking about. He didn't just let off the gas pedal. Sucre threw on the brakes. He doesn't have perfect positioning. He doesn't have perfect information of where Huskers is at, so he's going to back off for a moment. Huskers is just clearing out this building. I like this play from him to root out all of the angles. And take a look at his guns. Obviously, he's got his sniper, but he would like a little bit better ground loot.
Oh, this is what I'm worried about. I don't know if he knows Lovely Low is up there, and based on the turn back, I believe he does, but she has to know that someone's playing low based on the fact that she got that supply crate.
Edge of zone, though. I mean, they're going to both have to rotate and likely get held by somebody. It's going to be Sucre first to look over. Ooh, Huskers connects again.
That was dirty, honestly, just the pop-up. And the fact that Sucre doesn't take down Huskers while he's making that move, that was how efficient he was with that. And he's immediately setting his sights to keep clearing out this space. Now, they had a run in earlier, so he knows that player is still here.
First bullets connecting from Sucre. The Huskers may only need one.
No way.
It's up tight. He goes up to the height, drops back down, just trying to find an angle. These two players are dancing around each other. Huskers elects to go outside. Gonna try to isolate this fight in a different way. Pushed out the outside without a lot of cover, but just enough. Cracked shields. And I was worried about the bread. The bakery was hot. The bread delivered. Connects with a sniper shot of his own. Breadman rocking a sniper as expected. Holy cow.
There's something to be said about a freshly sliced piece of warm bread with butter on it. And Breadman delivers, let me tell you. For Aiden, though, he's electing to play the out-of-bounds line. And you kind of have to become one with the map. We saw Benny Central doing it earlier. And Aiden, he's wanting that revenge, best served with a victory here in a solo YOLO.
We can at least hear in our headsets, Legion got taken down, and that was the loudest I've heard somebody yell in that pit that we saw all of our players in. Holy cow. Legion, unfortunately, out of this. We're already down to 14 players, folks. And we've got one of our first Bush Wookiees on main. Aiden, 6 kills to his name in a bush that, frankly, at least on our screen, isn't covering much. He's going to make a run. Look at number 33. I don't know who it is. Up on the mountain. Could take some shots, but Aiden wants his loadout, and he wants it now. He's going to get it. And I don't think our friend number 33 is looking to throw any shots down lane. Does not want to give away their position.
I think that's respectable, right? You're playing the long game. You can be patient, have that trigger discipline. Elsewhere, you've got players still on the outskirts. It's all about clearing one side of the circle and being the last to rotate for FIFA. A cross-map kill would be nice on to outplayed, but he's not going to be able to give him. The one thing he does do is give up that information, whereas you still have a player just across from him.
There's a lot of people in the area. I mean, 13 sounds like a lot. It's actually not that much for how big of a zone we still have. Uh-oh.
So clean.
Sophie's got the angle. Aiden has no health in iota. He throws one plate in. He cannot get the better of her. Sophie lies in wait, plays patiently, pulls the trigger at the perfect time. Aiden wiped out of this lobby, and Sophie, first time in Code Bowl, not only wins the trophy, but beats out Aiden ratting in the corner, and now is in the top 12 position and likely will be here for a while. That is Sophie, number 33. Patience is a virtue and a perfect execution.
I will say, I think the golden headset would look quite good on her. Another accolade there. But she continues on the momentum here for Code Bowl 6. You got Breadman representing the bakery in the distance. Of course, you've got to keep your eyes on Tantalize, that number 10 out on the fence line. Outplayed, has been shot at multiple times, but has not been able to get out of that bunker.
Bread finally picks up Sucre. They've been dancing around each other for a while. I was going to say our zone is closing, and this next zone will change everything, frankly. If you were playing low side, too bad. You've got to go very far in wide open spaces. I think there's a song about that. And if you're playing edge of map, you're in one of the best positions. Of course, Smixy finding a kill on main. Through our X-ray, we can see her off in the distance playing that kind of ridge line. She'll have to come all the way over to this zone, and Benny Central's been here since the beginning. He's got an angle, could pull a Sophie, this time on Smixy.
We were talking about smart fights, right? And Smixy is by far one of the smartest competitors out there. She is storied, she's been here, and she's played so much Call of Duty throughout the past couple of years, competitive or not. She's joined us on the analyst desk. She can predict a circle at the drop of a hat. As soon as she sees it, she's like, I know where I need to play from. But here's the deal, you can easily get outplayed.
Yeah, and I was watching Tantalize, but having to cross these wide open spaces, somebody's gonna shoot at him, I can only imagine. So I turn my thoughts back to Sophie. He's got high ground position on the ridge. Benny, of course, here on an angle, and finally catches Outplayed. Outplayed gets outplayed, but only because Outplayed didn't have the information. Frankly, well done to Outplayed because he was able to stay alive for so long, getting shot from so many different angles. Unfortunately, does fall top 10. We are into 9 total players left. Benny Central, one of those. Smixy on the ridge, not in zone, but in a good position to make it to the edge of zone on the ridge on the very edge of the map.
For a numbers guy goes, you were talking about 1 out of 60. Right now, we're at a 1 out of 9 chance of taking the solo YOLO. This is where things start to get very interesting. And for Tantalize, kind of making the move across the fence line. Elsewhere, FIFA Kill takes down Breadman, who is one of the heavy hitters that we were talking about for this format in particular. But can he hit a mirror rotation straight around towards Smixy?
We've got 2 members of the Royal Air Force still in. They just won the Code Bowl. And no, Sophie goes down. Smixy on the ridge. We saw the insane wrap that Smixy was able to make all the way from the offside of the ridge, all the way up into zone, finds Sophie and takes the power position on top of the hill. Benny Central still in the same spot. Nobody knows where he is, and he is still hiding in this rock crevice and has made a fool of 2 players and has made it to top 6. There is a player, Warbs, just on the other side, though, and Smixy has the high ground. But look at our new zone poll. It is in dead center. Nobody has an advantage. High ground has to move down. Low ground has to move up. It's about to be a bloodbath for this final fight.
Smixy. Little glass ankle move here, and she's gonna go ahead and lay the groundwork. You got FIFA Kill on the horizon, just on the roof. Isaac below him. Benny Central and Warbs out towards the left. But Smixy has elected to hit the army crawl forward and try to lay ground into that next zone.
This is a really smart move from Smixy. We were kind of touting her ability to read a map extremely well. She knew she could not play high ground. Rotated extremely early, and I thought was safe, but who is shooting? I think FIFA Kill saw maybe a toe or a leg and took some shots this way. Isaac C.O.D.E, I don't think has thrown bullets down yet. I can only assume FIFA Kill knows he's in the area, but not necessarily the case. And it is FIFA Kill with the high ground position, spotted Smixy briefly. But I think Smixy has now hidden their entire body behind the tree, and FIFA Kill is going to rotate on the left side here. Isaac C.O.D.E doesn't have an angle yet. Warbs has found Benny. Benny did a great job, but unfortunately, Warbs was lying in wait just a hair longer. Here we go.
Isaac about to push on forward, straight into the line of sight of FIFA. Does the dodge, saves himself for now. But is it enough? A misplay right there for FIFA. This could be an interesting moment. Whoopty Our MVP from Monster Energy early on
way.
Takeout's Mixie. FIFA takes the win, and it's FIFA versus Whoop-Dee. We talked about our friends, but now they're foes. Who's going to take the other one down?
Are you kidding me?
I couldn't write a better story.
We just won the Code Bowl, and we have 2 players from the same team as the final 2 players in the Corsair Solo YOLO. This is unbelievable. Whoop-Dee with 5, FIFA Kill with a couple. Whoop-Dee with the high ground for now, but FIFA Kill with a ton of cover. A 1v1 against teammates. They just went out to dinner together. Literally last night, and now we're fighting for another title. Whoop-Dee extremely low. FIFA Kill gonna find the finishing blow. FIFA Kill is your Corsair Solo YOLO champion. He's done it again. Unstoppable.
But this is what it's about. The 1v1, they were right next to each other. The celebrations are here. Let's go, FIFA. But you gotta turn around and you've gotta hug Whoop-Dee.
Insane. Let's head down to the stage. Let's head to the pit. Taylor Reflections Noble.
Congratulations, FIFA Kill. Your exceptional performance has truly set you apart as a solo YOLO champion, and you've shown the gaming world what it means to rise to the occasion under intense pressure. And of course, Corsair, we got to thank them for sponsoring the solo YOLO. And well, here is your golden headset provided by Corsair. Second place last year to Teep. I hate to say his name, but I got to bring him up, okay? Who, right? But this year, it's all about FIFA, man. So championship, right? Whenever it comes to the regular games, and now solo YOLO champion. What's up? How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. You know, solo YOLO is my thing. You know, I won one of the actual World Series ones before. Came 3rd, 2nd. Last year, came 2nd in the Code Bowl one, so it was nice. I mean, you always want to improve from the year before, and to do that, we had to win it. So I do feel a bit bad that I took my boy out, but he got the MVP ring. He'll be all right.
He got the MVP ring. That's exactly right. How are you so consistent, man, when it comes to not only playing competitively, but also solo? Because you're right, you did win one of the World Series of Warzone ones back in the day. You're like cashing out when it comes to solo YOLOs.
I'm just a nerd, bro. Like, I'll be honest, I just play so much that I've seen every circle 100 times and played it so many times. You know, you get the game sense, and then the gunny and put the time in, it comes out. So I love a solo as well. I love a solo.
Yeah, well, you definitely played very, very well. What does it mean to you, man, to just be here? Do you have any family who's in the RAF at all, or the military in general, or is this just something that you're incredibly passionate about?
I'll be honest, I don't have family in the RAF, but I've known these boys for a few years now, and like after last year, we actually made like a pretty strong bond as like more than just, you know, teammates at this event. We became like actual good friends, and like the cause is so great. Like right there, they had a letter on my desk from like someone who actually got helped out by the endowment, and that just means a lot to me. So to be back here, win it for them, I know how much it means for them. Like they got so much passion, you don't even understand. So like just their energy makes me fired up, so it means a lot. And then, you know, solo YOLO, gotta keep my street cred up, let them know I still got it. Come on.
All right, you never lost it. What do you mean you still got it? That's actually, yeah, you never lost it, brother. Final words, man. What do you want to say, not only for your fans, but maybe the supporters out there at the RAF, because you represented in all aspects today?
Hey, thank you guys for everything you do. If anybody's watching, make sure you donate if you can, obviously. I'm going to do a little one of my own, you know. Got to support the boys, but thank you guys so much. I hope we did you guys proud. Shout out to my family, my girlfriend, everybody watching, all the Shed Gang. Appreciate you guys, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you next year. Run it back ×2.
Well, Fifi, you know I'm a big fan, brother. Always supporting you every chance I get. Second place to first, back on top, FIFA Killed. Yeah, hold it up, man, hold it up, because you're the proud winner. And of course, we want to thank Corsair for sponsoring the solo YOLO. Without them, this solo YOLO would not be possible. FIFA Kill, your solo YOLO champion, also winning the championship as a whole. He can do it all, of course, with RAF. Desk, back to you.
Stay clean house. What an incredible moment there for FIFA Kill and for RAF boys. I mean, it's such a wonderful story as well, listening to what FIFA Kill's had to say about those guys and the fact that they've created such a strong bond, and that bond's really carried through into the gameplay. I mean, absolutely amazing. And by the way, the two of you, your dulcet tones over that, absolutely incredible. The casting is elite. I've got to ask you what you noticed about his gameplay in particular that really carried him forward in the solo YOLO to go and get that golden headset.
Look, it makes sense. It's something that we've been seeing for the past couple of of months as they kind of prep for the $1 million tournament down the line. But something that he said made it so much more powerful, right? Second last year. Only way to go up is just win the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then to take out your teammate for the win as well, I think it's just the hours, the peeling out of the game chair to maybe get an hour of sleep, to go right back into it again. It's the dedication, and it's all the time. And honestly, I love that we got to witness it.
RAF was unbelievable this tournament. Like, in terms of score, they didn't stomp, but they won. They just got all the accolades this time around, which is, I don't think we've ever seen that before. They not only get the MVP, obviously, they win the tournament, and then they also have 2 members. That's crazy. At the final fight, wild to see.
Unbelievable stuff. A huge congratulations to FIFA Kills. Absolutely incredible gameplay. And thank you all for tuning in to Code Bowl 6. We also want to give a huge shout out to our incredible partners, USAA, who has been the cornerstone of this event since Code Bowl 2. A big thanks to Monster Energy for crowning our 3rd MVP, Corsair for bringing back the solo YOLO, Gillette for helping us stay cool under pressure, as well as Through Dark and Pilot on making Code Bowl 6 possible. Goj, Tiff, you guys have been phenomenal. How incredible was Code Bowl 6 for you guys this year, Tiff?
I'm just grateful that I could even be here. It's been a magnificent event to be a part of. I couldn't imagine doing it alongside anyone else other than you, Goj and Lottie. Like, it's been a really fun time to highlight all the different military branches, the service members, and all the work that they put in throughout the year. In-game, out-of-game, just every bit of it. And to seeing it all culminate in a beautiful win for the Royal Air Force, I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. This is one of my favorite events of the year, and to get it to do it alongside 2 of my best friends in the industry, it's so good to be here up with both of you. But this was also a historic event when you think back about Code Bowls, and so to be a part of that as well, to see Royal Air Force dominate in the fashion that they did, but also have great competition. We didn't even know who the winner was until they showed us the leaderboard. Like, all the good things you want in a great competition.
Amazing. Well, casters, thank you so very much for all of your hard work all day. Thank you so much to our service members. Thank you so much to our content creators and everybody, of course, at home watching. We really do appreciate everyone's support, and we look forward to seeing you guys at the next event. That's it. Good night from us, and we'll see you at the next Code Bowl.
To wipe the rest of the lobby, Air Force